500 horsepower pushing me into my seat, reaching 250 kilometers an hour in a few seconds, while braking just as quick. Driving on some of the most famous tracks in the world. Driving bumper to bumper against great players from all around the world. Fighting for the ultimate prize. Being the real racer. The Real Race 2021. Sign up now.
Welcome everyone for another round of the Lamborghini The Real Race. It's back for episode 8, which means we're in round 8 and a new track in Silverstone. My name is Randy Butler, and obviously I have to say a big thanks to the guys over at Kunos Simulazioni for Assetto Corsa Competizione. That's the game we're on, the sim we're on. And obviously also thanks to Intel, to Kaspersky, and Secret Labs, our friends over helping us to put all of this together and putting all the racing action for you guys together. Once again, I'm not on my own, obviously. So, Haley, Smith, you're all right for some more racing action?
I'm good. I'm ready to go. So it should be pretty good today. I'm happy because it's Silverstone. Even if you don't like it, I certainly do. But don't worry, guys. I'll be able to guide you through the track. You all know Silverstone by now. It's the most historic track in England these days. It's ahead of Brands Hatch, I think. Probably safe to say that. It's been there for about 25 years in terms of Formula One. So definitely the most historic track in the UK. So great to get the Lamborghinis on the track.
Definitely, and we're in for exciting times once again because we are nearly at the end of the season. This is round 8. In total, there are 10. I wouldn't say 12, but not that many. It's 10, which means again closer and closer at the top, and we're getting closer and closer to the big thing you can actually win over here. But before we dive into Silverstone and the latest round, let's have a quick look once again at what happened in Catalonia in round 7. As we go green, and once again it seems that Jordan Sherrod did not have the best start. Owl, Benjamin Bowman right next to him. Sherrod on the back, he goes wide, takes out Barberi, both go off the track, and all of a sudden...
Oh, I think that's Tavanari maybe just gone off. Rossi.
Look how close that gets behind Rossi. Lippins really had to get out of the way there.
Yeah, Jordan Sherrod, he's got to be carrying damage, no doubt about it. He got sent sparring. Look at the side of that car. He's got dents all over it at the moment. And this will be the race win for Bonacorsi. A fantastic drive throughout, no doubt about it. He's worked hard for it, but let's talk about the story of Tommy Razziari from 18th to 2nd place. Magnificent performance from him.
Incredible racing we saw in Spain, Catalonia. That was round 7. Now we're nearer and closer to round 8. But before we dive into racing and get everyone right there on the grid, let's once again talk about the format.
Yeah, so everyone out there, if you guys are watching right now, you have a chance to be here for the next race. That will be at Spa-Francorchamps on the 14th of November, which means the qualification will kick off on the Monday before then. That's obviously going to be the Sunday, the 14th. So you're looking at, I don't even know what day it is, probably the 7th, I guess, or the 8th, or somewhere around there. The qualification will go up. And you're going to be hot lapping. You're going to be hot lapping. And if you are in the top 40 of your region, doesn't have to be EMEA, it could be APAC, which obviously finished the race just before we started. It could be over in NALA, in North America and Latin America. Anywhere in the world, wherever you may be, you can have a go at getting here for the next race. It is completely open qualifications. Anyone that races has a chance, anyone that qualifies, sorry, has a chance to get in the headsets as well, Lamborghini headsets. That's obviously a fantastic prize to start with, but if you're quick enough and you are into the top 20, we will have a full-on closed circuit. The top 40 guys get whittled down to 20, and then the top 20 will be driving right here on the show with us, talking about you, hopefully saying nice things about you. But that's how it all breaks down. So hopefully we'll see some new names at Spa.
Yeah, and then what we shouldn't forget about is the big prize, right? If you're actually one of the 3 winners per region of this championship, then it's not enough with just a headset, right? You're actually getting to experience and drive one of the coolest cars out there in the world, or even the coolest, because it's a great race car. And instead of me just telling you about it, why not showing it? So here we go.
Engine goes positive lap for driver change. Copy, now.
The Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2. An absolutely incredible machine. Good looking, not just good sounding, it also looks really, really good and really aggressive. And that's what you get if you're actually at the top of the board here in Lamborghini The Real Race. Not just in one race, nope, needs to be the entire series, so you better get your A-game out there. But let's talk about the races that we had, Lee, and the races that are upcoming. Because as I said already, we're in the later half of the season, which means we saw plenty of tracks already.
Yeah, and for the first time, by the way, in the EMEA region, we had a different winner as well, which was fantastic. At the moment, though, we can see, obviously, we went through Monza. We were in the studio. We covered all the regions for that one. Then we went over to Laguna Seca, Suzuka for the endurance race. It will be an endurance race at Spa on the 14th. And then Kyalami for another sprint. We moved on through the races. We're on to race 8 now, aren't we? I think we are in the program. Yes, there we go. We went to Zandvoort, Nürburgring for the second endurance race of the season, Catalonia, and here we are at another sprint race at Silverstone. What does a sprint race mean? It's going to be a 55-minute race and an hour-long race, or 45-minute and an hour-long race, if I can count my times. They will have to make a pit stop within that time as well. So for fuel, for tires, whatever they want to change in there. There is something I want to put across that we did get wrong in the past in terms of rules, in terms of the pit stops. They do not need to pit when the game pit window says they can. They can pit at any time, and any penalty that may be applied will get removed by the admins. They can pit whenever they like.
I mean, that helps a bit in terms of strategy, although I think we will once again see most of them being roughly around halfway through, right? So that should be the normal strategy we see, but we also saw a few different approaches so far in this championship. Who knows what will happen today? But let's send it over to Stefan Winkelmann, the CEO of Lamborghini.
Pushing the boundaries has been within the DNA of Lamborghini from the very first day. And we all agree that competition helps every company and every individual to never rest and always keep pushing. Of course, this is also true for racing competitions, be it out on the track or in a simulator. In fact, sim racing has experienced a huge growth over the last years, even accelerated during this last year of travel restrictions and other limitations due to COVID. Lamborghini is happy to be a supporter and an important driver of this trend. We share the passion of the sim racing community. With the Real Race, we are now increasing the competition to 3 regions. This is a great development, underlining Lamborghini's commitment and providing even more racers a chance to engage with our brand. On the company's journey, the development of digital solutions is crucial. Making racing accessible for everyone is close to our heart. In the end, we all in this incredible car universe are in it for the love of cars and the passion for performance. We'd like to wish the best luck to the drivers. We are all looking forward to seeing who will win the championship and become Lamborghini official sim driver in 2022. And now, I invite you to play, to compete, to be entertained by Lamborghini.
Thanks, Stefan Winkelmann, for the nice message, and that gets us now close and closer to the Silverstone race. Talking about the iconic UK track, I can say that even though I'm not a huge fan of Silverstone, but I know Lee is, that we're heading to Great Britain, hopefully, without all the rain that we would normally expect from such a race, right?
Yeah, it looks sunny at the moment, but then again, I say at the moment, they are just in practice at the moment. But Silverstone, fantastic circuit, very quick circuit, and as you can see, 1948, pretty much like all racing tracks around, certainly the UK, built around an old aircraft hangar, etc. that was all sort of there back in the old days. The runway is still there, in fact, as well. It's part of the track as well, almost. But yes, absolutely fantastic track. We'll be taking you around the whole thing throughout the race. And I'm excited to say we've got some stiff competition, I think, today for Mr. Jordan Sherritt. We'll see whether he can get challenged out. But as you can see there, the current lap record, 1:27. I don't think we're going to be hitting that, certainly today in the Lamborghinis. 18 turns, lots of turns. Everyone with a name, by the way, Rennie, as well. Every track with a name. No sponsorship in this one, which is why I like to see.
No American numbers.
That's it, yeah. No, none of this sort of randomness that we're getting here. Everything's got a name. Even the straights have names, for crying out loud. The Hamilton straight right there on your screen. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, that's where we're going to be starting things off. Down the Hamilton Toast Sister. And honestly, if you've been to Silverstone, when did you last go to Silverstone, Rennie? Because you've been there, I know.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a while ago, 2017.
Years ago, right? Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to get in and out of these days. Back in the old days, it was an absolute nightmare to get in and out of on a race day. But much better now. Much better infrastructure around the whole place.
That's good, but we don't need it. That's the beauty of sim racing, right?
Exactly.
We could just fly from A to B without.
There's a lot of sim rigs there nowadays as well. A lot of. I mean, COVID days, like obviously as we just heard Stefan Winkelmann talking about there, COVID days, a lot of drivers went there in the sim rigs, didn't they? And competed in virtual racing.
True that. Now that we have the track and everyone saw it, just in case you were not familiar yet with Silverstone, let's have a look at the grid as well and who's racing today. So some of the driver profiles that will be on the starting line in today's big race, round 8 at Silverstone. One of them is obviously 22-year-old Jordan Sherritt, who did not hear from him just yet. I mean, he won nearly every race besides the last one, but had a huge comeback on that one, we have to say it. And great racing, nearly flawless performance each and every time. So really the man to beat.
I'm not going to lie, he looks older than 22 in his picture. He's one of those, normally a baby face, like right here, right? Tommy Razzieri, baby face. Yeah, he's got a bit of facial hair on. Remove that, he's a baby face. But, you know what? He's the second challenger in terms of points and has been putting in some fantastic performances overall. Some real great racing. Finished second in the last race, just behind Bonacorsi. They had a great race back and forward, took over each other a couple of times. Very entertaining stuff. We're hoping for more of that today.
I'd see if he can actually find a way around Jordan Sherritt, and the same for Luca Tavanari, the 27-year-old Italian. Obviously, he should have all the Lamborghinis blocked, I would say. I
gotta say though, with Luca, I always feel disappointed. He's always like there, and then something happens. Whether he gets spun, he gets took out, there's a spin himself. There's always been an incident involving the poor old Luca. Every race we've covered.
That is true, but he's a great driver. He can definitely show something on the track. So can Benjamin Baumann, the definitely not 6-year-old Swiss. Although it says it here. He is Swiss.
He looks it.
Well, he's definitely not 6 years old. Although that would be quite funny.
I think 16, perhaps, maybe.
Yes.
I mean, he
if
looks
he's,
a young
if he's
lad, yeah.
6, then I want to sign him today. So
That's
that's
it,
impossible.
yeah,
Do I need to get a deal with his parents then, right?
Get him on the pal, that's it.
That would be nice. He's a great driver. Not yet on the top spot though. I would say if Ruggieri is in, then that's already a bit too tough now, right? Unless Silverstone is really his favorite track, because he had good moments, but he's missing that spark that really puts him on the top row here at the Lamborghini The Real Race.
If you remember, he took the lead at
True.
the start of the last track. You know, did very well, got himself in the lead, but lost out in the end to Ruggieri throughout that one, and then he sort of whittled away. As you can see in terms of the points, it is very much a one-man show in terms of Jordan Sherritt dominating this season. As we say, like last race, he got spun out by actually Benjamin Baumann, right? Wasn't it? I think it was. And then got tumbled down to 18th in the race, but managed to fight his way back to second place in that sprint race. Won the sprint race previous to that as well. So a first and a second. Most people would be very happy with that. For Jordan, that was a disappointing day.
Yeah, not getting a double win like he normally does, but at least we saw him overtaking this time, and did a really good job. We also see Baumann in there, who's in 6th, right? Ruggieri, who's in 2nd currently, Tavernari 4th. That are the typical drivers that we normally see here as well. Seclari, we didn't have him for a while. Same for Van der Velde, who is a very aggressive driver. Great to look at in terms of fights, but he's not around for the Silverstone race, so he will definitely drop down the order and the standings. Talking about the order, so that means we get everyone now onto the grid. They're loading the right setups, making sure that the tire pressures are straight on what they want, the right brake pads, and then we're back after a break with a race. Now we finally see the virtual Silverstone as we are at the starting grid already. And everyone seems to be ready to rock, ready to race. The last car of Jordan Sherritt still dropped to the ground there. So a few last second adjustments from his side. But what a weather, Lee. I mean, that looks nice, tidy, and easy then if it's not raining.
No, absolutely. And this is obviously going to be a rolling start from the backside of the grid. They're going to wrap around, and then when they hit that Hamilton straight, the green flag will drop, and away we go. And it's going to be very interesting to see if A, Benjamin Baumann can challenge Jordan Sherritt, B, whether he gets wiped out. He is on that inside line, and it's going to be very tricky to see how things go. The green flag's dropped. Here we go. Jordan Sherritt does immediately cut across to Benjamin Baumann. That is going to be Bouquet, I think it was, just inside up on a course. He does manage to get ahead, though. Bouquet making himself looking loud and proud. Ruggieri, oh, just a little challenge there. That's all looking for it too tight. There is some yellow flags, I think, I just saw waving further down, so I didn't see who went off the circuit. But at the moment, Jordan Sherritt looking very good to start.
Yeah, that was a great start there. As you said, he immediately cut over and made sure that Baumann had no chance at all to go around the outside. And with that, Jordan Sherritt is, off he goes, basically. Look at that, how he's immediately spreading the gap. And now Baumann is under pressure by Bouquet and Bonacorsi, who's a bit further down. But we know how quickly you can get into a fight and be involved in it if the front row is starting it. But if no one now keeps in touch with Jordan Sherritt, then he will be gone for the first sector. Look at that deep dive there. I think that was Bonacorsi who tried to launch from all the way back. No, it was Bouquet, but he couldn't find a way around Baumann, but it was enough to keep Bonacorsi down to 4th. And by the way, Ruggieri only 6th as Pogal went by.
Absolutely. Bouquet, though, is holding this lead ahead of Bonacorsi. Bonacorsi, as I say, race winner last time out, so he's really looking to try and improve himself, but Bouquet's got to be so defensive here. Also saw Tommy Ruggieri. Tommy Ruggieri down in 6th, by the way, so a little out of there, and behind Pogal Pogadl. Apologies if I'm going to absolutely ruining your name, but a new driver to the circuit, which I love to see, by the way, being challenged out into the top 5 already. But Tommy Razzieri wants to get past. You can see him just taking a little look once again to see if they can slip through. Not going to be the case right now.
Yeah, it's very hard fights now right from the get-go here as we launched off into the first lap. And it seems like most of the grid went through the first turns really, really well because everyone is still bunched up. We have a lot of fights going on everywhere besides 1.5 seconds of a gap between Sherritt and Baumann already. That guy is just absolutely unstoppable. Incredible pace he puts to the grid every single time. No matter the racetrack, no matter the conditions, Jordan Sherritt knows how to dominate on it. And Benjamin Baumann, he knows by now that it will be very hard for him if Jordan Sherritt doesn't do any mistake to keep up with the difference we already see right from the start. Pogacar, though, with Ruggieri right behind, I think he feels the pressure. Look at how close Ruggieri is now coming to the straight.
Yeah, definitely keeping the pressure on. Coming down around Copse. He's pretty quick around here. Sorry, that's the Stowe, tell a lie. That's Stowe they're going round, which means, actually, they're going to be going through the Vale and approaching the sharp left-hander, which is why we're seeing Ruggieri having just a little peek there as they try and come through Club. Just a little look around the side, not really an overtaking chance, but if he gets a good exit there, he could maybe have a nip down Hamilton straight just as they come into Abbey, and you can see he's doing just that. Is he going to be able to try and get the swing? He wants to go as wide as he can, sticking to the left as far as he can, but Pogacar's not having any of it at the moment. He's going to try and stick to it as they come once again hard on the brakes into Village. And they're going to try and sweep it round, but I tell you what, Ruggieri needs to be careful because Leito behind, we're having a little look there.
Yeah, he's right there, and we saw how strong he was in Catalonia. So Ruggieri is definitely aware of having good driver right behind. That's the view of Benjamin Baumann's rear wing of the Huracan GT3 car. Pretty full look out. It's an awesome wing. I just absolutely love it on this car. But there's no one really close. He has half a second gap as well to Bouquet and then Bonaccorsi. While Barzaghi goes onto Calandrino. Really close there. Under braking. Definitely not having much between those two cars. Luckily, no one touched each other, so that worked quite fine. But Tavanari only in 12 right now. It's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. There's a few down there, like Barbieri and Tavanari and Gabasarossi as well. All these drivers that have done generally relatively well in the last few races definitely seem to be struggling here. Most of the field, though, you know, pretty close together. I mean, we are only 5 minutes in, so you wouldn't expect them to spread too much. Apart from Jordan Sherritt, he's got himself, or just shy of a 2-second lead at the moment over Benjamin Baumann. But Bouquet definitely keeping the pressure on him at the moment. Further down, Pogacar has lost places. What happened there? He looked like he's gone down. Yeah, he's definitely lost quite a few ground. So I don't exactly know. We'll get a replay on that one. But he has gone down from 4th down to 9th, so big error from him. Yeah, that really hurts. He had a great start there, and he was right with Ruggieri. If you drop down, then it's hard to come back. Everyone's on the same car, similar strategies in these 45-minute races, so you really have to showcase it in dogfighting, basically, and it will not be easy for him to go through. Barzaghi's still around and still in front of Tavanari, so doing a good job there, and to me it looks like Bonaccorsi got a bit closer, but we get the replay of what happened to Pogacar between him and maybe Ruggieri. Who knows? I mean, something had to happen. Bouquet opening the inside for Bonaccorsi nearly. Let's have a look at the replay that we get. That's Pogacar's view. Oh, he's just lost it. He's just lost it through Beckett's, hasn't he?
Yes.
Like Meggett and Beckett's, yeah.
Yeah, I think he touched the brake a bit or just lifted off. That obviously shifts all the way to the front, and then the rear got a bit wiggly, and off it goes. And that cost him a lot of positions. Luckily, no damage, it seems, while he's now in front of Calandrino. So you should be able to at least stick with the group. Now he has to do all that overtaking.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of sweeping sequences of bends where you can gain a lot of time and also lose a lot of time. Bouquet, though, look at this. Bouquet and Baumann keeping the pressure on at the moment as Bouquet charging down. Let's have a look at the inside. Benjamin Baumann just got Jordan Sherritt off in the distance. You can see on his rear wing, though, Bouquet, a large presence there. We did just see a moment ago Bouquet and Bonacorsi challenging each other, but it seems that's sort of settled down again as Bonacorsi tried a bit of a sharper exit at the moment. But look at this, just trying to shake and get in the brain of Benjamin Baumann. I mean, you're not going to be out of position going through Stowe there. That's not the case. I mean, there's no way anyone's going to dive up the inside of Stowe. You just can't carry the speed around to start with. So now as they go tight on the Break 2 Club, this is where they're going to bunch up a little bit, obviously, as everybody slows down a little bit. It's all about, can you get a good exit? Benjamin Baumann certainly seemed to take it pretty smoothly, but look at Bouquet and Bonacorsi both closing in.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they get closer and closer to Baumann, but Baumann nearly 3 seconds off pace from Jordan Sheriff right now after these few laps that we just had. I mean, the race is not even 10 minutes old, but the difference is already 3 seconds. That once again showcases the raw skill and performance that Jordan Sheriff brings to the grid each and every time, and definitely a deservable winner, I would say, because I'm not quite sure if anyone can stop him still. Robin Pogardel still in 9th, now hunting down Besink for 8th, with that getting back to the positions before, but it's Calandrino right behind there. Oh, it seems like he has to defend and look more in the rearview mirror than he had to previously. Now Calandrino on the outside, that should be absolutely fine as long as he keep the momentum going, but Calandrino really strong there around the outside. I thought he might even have a chance to get his front end in there and ruin the corner for Pogardel and maybe make it stick there. But once again, Pogardel stays in 9th, but we see that the gap to Besink is becoming bigger and bigger with him watching the rearview mirrors and having to defend.
Look at Bazaghi up behind them. So as we saw Calandrino making an effort, Tavanari and Bazaghi both looking to try and get past there as they went through Brooklands and Luffield. Now though, as they sweep through Maggott to Beckett's, this is what I say, you can make a lot of time up here if you take it perfectly lined. You can also lose a hell of a lot of time if you just go off that racing line, which is why you often see people just dipping out, not even remotely going for the overtake through there, because if you're offline, it can cost you quite a lot of time. And at the moment, it's looking like Pogardel has that one back in the bag. So let's look back up the field to what was our front runners. I mean, ignoring Jordan Sherritt, because Sherritt is off. By the way, Sherritt, the only driver on the circuit at the moment that's doing 156s. He is blasting away. The fastest and closest is a 157.2, which actually Bouquet did behind Baumann. Baumann's a 157.3. Both laps, the previous laps though, 157.6s, so definitely in defensive mode there. Back to Bazaghi, you can see Tavanari. I mean, we were talking about Luca Tavanari earlier on, you know, he's 5th currently in the championship, has been challenging throughout, but always has something happen through the race. And here we see him down in 12th. Maybe this just isn't his circuit, or he's just had a poor qualifying. Either way, he's got a lot of work to do to work his way through the film. He's certainly trying though. Bazaghi is currently proving a problem.
Yeah, definitely. And Tavanari, normally we would see him like top 8, I would say. Similar, by the way, top 12. That's normally where I think Alves should be, but he's currently in 18th, right behind Roman Lippins. So if you drive, I think it's a really, really strong grid. I mean, look how close everyone is. It's the best of the best, and it's really good to watch Garba Shiroshi down in 14th behind Barbaria, right? He's also there. Christian also back in for another race in 16th. So it is a really, really good grid, and the guys doing well so far, hunting each other down. Great to look at in terms of the TV perspective that we get here. That is Garba Shiroshi with Johnson right behind. Not Atex Johnson, though. It's not Nicholas Krallenberg. It's
going back some years now.
Yeah, the German pro racer that we both commentated on quite often in our career, I would say, in terms of racing titles. But Barbarian, back to Bonacorsi, who's still in 4th. I wonder if he can go a bit quicker, because we see him managing that gap quite well, but so far, no real chance to really send it up the inside of Bouquet and really challenging him for a podium spot.
Yeah, Baumann answering into the pressure, did a 157.3, so quicker than both Bouquet and Bonacorsi in that last lap. So answering to the pressure that he was under from these two. As we go back once again down through Village and out through the farm and then around the Aintree and down the Wellington Straight, keeping the pressure. There's an incident further down, I've just been heard. I'm looking for a dip, and that is Calandrino, I think. I see Tavanari going down as well, so we're going to have to look at what has happened there, because something has gone very wrong. Tavanari finds himself way down. He's gone. He's gone off the circuit, down to 18th. He was challenging out 10th place Calandrino, so Tavanari, unfortunately, has took some damage, and that car not looking too good right now.
Yeah, I think the front bonnet is open just a tiny bit, right? And Lippens just comes by. That should have been Roman Lippens, I think, who just went by. So Luca Tavanari in a lot of trouble. But we will get the replay as well, what happens there. And I think he also got together with Roman Lippens then, because he was in front of Alves. So let's see, that's Luca Tavanari, the car in the middle. One of the super fast corners onto the curb, touched the brake, and then just lost the rear. He might oh my god, he probably clipped the edge of the curb, but he definitely connected Lippens and the green car. Who was that? I'm not quite sure. That could have been Johnson.
Stefan Johnson, yeah.
Oh, that's really unlucky there. I mean, what will you do? Is you can also not really blame Tavanari for it. Like, he lost the car, yeah, he's to blame for that. But just really unlucky how he clipped Lippens and Johnson. But for these guys, the first race is basically over, right? They still stay within the race, obviously, because every position they gain will help them for the next race, the main race with 1 hour length. But yeah, really making it towards the top 10, that's off the table now.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We've had some fantastic comebacks before from the backside, so we'll keep our eye on whether Tavanari can do it. Of course, it does mean they're taking their pit stop now as well, with 31 minutes to go, so it's that's out of the way. But Pagardl putting the pressure onto Bussink here. We saw Pagardl obviously was running in 4th place before he ended up going off on a corner through Beckett's. Ooh, Bussink just losing the back end a little bit there, giving Pagardl pause for thought. Had to be a little quick on the brakes as well to make sure he didn't collect the rear end of that Lamborghini as they come sweeping round now onto the Hamilton straight. And now Pagardl's going to be looking to try and find his moment. It's going to be fast corner here, diving around, and Bussink goes wide. Yeah, the pressure very much on him here. He's going to rejoin the track, but Pagardl's going to be there. And now actually he decides to jump to Benjamin Baumann. So Baumann under pressure as well. I want to return back to Pagardl because he didn't actually get past Bussink here. They are come on TV, find him. TV cameraman even slacking on that one, but he is still behind him. So I feel it's like one of those classic moments when the directors ask for the car and the TV camera's like, where is he? That's what I was doing. Bussink, though, hold on. I don't actually know how. I'd love to know how he managed to hold on to that spot.
It's like he did it really well. That's for sure, but Pagardl is putting pressure, and now that he finally broke loose from Calandrino, it seems like his pace a lot quicker. But let's have a look at the... Oh, I'm not quite sure if we really want to go into the replay here, as Pagardl is still very, very close to Bussink. So, let's see. But we will see a different perspective of the incident with Tavanari that we previously saw. Maybe that gives us a bit more insight as to what happened. So, this is Lippens and Johnson. And seeing Johnson comes around, yeah, they saw the car moving and they reacted to it, but there was not much to do, and then they nearly tapped another car. That's really close. And, what was that? Oh, someone was sleeping. Someone was sleeping. I mean, that was not on Johnson, I would say.
No,
definitely
no.
not. Did he push him off track on purpose there? Wasn't a bad move, but yeah, they were just sleeping. But I think the big problem here was, in terms of driver perspective, at that moment, the second car was chasing, right? So you only see the car that you're right behind, and you're in the slipstream, and he was considering stepping out, and all of a sudden there is a very slow car up ahead, right? So it is hard to correct it. Happened to one of our friends last race here at the Nordschleife, actually. Came out of the slipstream. 3 cars around him, couldn't see the double yellow flex, so first car was braking down to 120 kph, and he just smashed it right in the rear of it. You can't see everything.
Oof. but that was expensive.
It was. Baumann and Bouquet are fighting, I think. There's not much between them at all. So let's maybe jump there and look if Benjamin Baumann is capable of keeping second position, or if Bouquet finally finds a way around him. Bonacorsi all still in waiting position, kinda. Just hoping that these two really go at each other. Might be the laughing third. Just passes them. Baumann now 6 seconds between him and Jordan Sherritt. And it always sounds so brutal, but Jordan is just incredibly quick.
Yeah, that's the sad truth. I mean, I don't know if it's a sad truth, but it is the truth. Either way, stop-go penalty for Luca Tavanari. So, that's a bit harsh. I mean, he just lost the back end of the car, spun. There's, like, how's he getting a stop-go for that? Because he was facing the wrong direction. He couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah,
Where did he go?
Yeah, I think it's for not holding the brake, I would say, because he rolled into that accident,
he rolled into
right?
the track. Yeah, maybe.
So it could have been that one. I'm pretty sure that he's not getting a stop and go penalty for just losing the rear end, and that will indeed be a bit harsh.
I mean, it's kind of what it is.
True that. True.
Bouquet instantly into the pits, by the way. So choosing to go straight for the pits as early as possible. So the pit window now open. I mean, as I said, they can pit anytime they like. It's just the game that is opening that pit window with a halfway marker. But he's choosing to go early. They generally all go for that halfway place and go for it. Back further down the grid, Gabasarossi is the sandwich at the moment here, it seems, with Schumer in. But that's quickly changed as they all dive in the pits.
Yeah, it's like Gabasarossi lost the position to Schumacher right before that, and then Alva's right behind. But now he has a bit of a more open track. I wonder with, who was it who pulled into the pits immediately? Bouquet.
Bouquet, yeah.
If he thinks he's a lot quicker than Baumann. If you just try to get an open track now.
Maybe, yeah. I would almost say yes. I would agree as well, because he was certainly doing well. However, if you were to look at the fastest laps between the two, Baumann 157.3, whereas, well, he's way down here now, a 157.2. So Bouquet has done a quicker fastest lap. Whether that accounts to coming out, of course, it depends where he comes out. Does he come out in traffic? Well, let's have a look, because he's just coming out of the pits now. And he's in the clear, isn't he? Completely clear air, so this is perfect for him. What is with TV camera guys at Silverstone today? They are completely losing track of cars.
It's really hard for them. They're just too quick, these Lamborghinis, to get catch on TV cam. But yeah, you're right. Bouquet is really out there on his own, and that really helps. I think if he's really nailing the laps now, it might pay off. Because he did this on purpose. He did not pit because he had issues with the cars or the tire. I highly doubt that, but he was right there with Baumann, and I think Baumann was just too slow for it.
Well, Bazzaghi and Barbieri, they've been close for, well, a long time, and just as we look at it, in goes Barbieri. Another one where obviously they're taking the decision to sort of dip away. Now, with Benjamin Baumann, he's got obviously this relatively clear air. We can see what he can do. Let's see how fast he can go. He's not really under pressure from Bonacorsi at the moment. He's almost a second behind. You can still see Jordan Sherritt just up the Wellington straight there. So tell a lie, that's the Hangar straight. Amount of time that he's sort of got with him. Razzieri, I feel like Razzieri's gaining back on him, but he's still just shy of 2 seconds behind him. And Benjamin Baumann, this is his time to shine. This is his time to put the lap times in. So now that he's not under pressure, we'll see what he's got in his locker. I mean, he's obviously done well to get himself in second place in the first place. So he's done a faster qualifying time. But of course, you never know how that's going to equate to qualifying time when you have the full race fuel within the car, to see whether he can carry that through. The man that, by the way, we both butchered his name, Kuchazak. I'm not sure if that's right, but he appreciated us trying to pronounce his name correctly, I saw last week. But he's still under pressure from Bussing. Bussing, of course, was further up the grid earlier as well.
Yeah, look at him diving there right into the apex, trying to come closer to Chirac, but it's not that easy. By the way, Calandrino also pitted, Pogardel pitted, so we got a few drivers that did, as we're approaching the halfway mark now with 23 minutes. 45, that was the start time. 15-second penalty, though, for Alves. Interesting how he got that one. What was it due to him sleeping? Was it Alves who was doing that? But pretty sure that
It
race
might have
control
been
will let us know very soon. But yeah, it could have been him in terms of livery. I think that fits.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same livery, so as we saw. But now Jordan Sherritt's coming in, as is Bonacorsi, Razzieri, Leito, Bussing, all diving into the pits. Now Kushrak stayed out, as did Benjamin Baumann. So what we need to be looking at is Bouquet. We can see him at the moment on the back of Tavanari, who's obviously a lap down, 2 laps down, in fact, on him. No, I want to stay on our man Bouquet. Thank you very much. That's the man we're sticking with at the moment. I know it's thinking I've given him too much screen time, so it's like no, we've seen Bouquet too much. But let's see where he is. So he's approaching the pits area now. So Jordan Sherritt coming out at the moment. So we expect obviously Sherritt to stay ahead because he's going to come out. But it is a fairly long pit exit. So let's see who is going to get past as he goes through. Looking good for him so far. He has passed Bonacorsi, which we would expect. He was ahead of Bonacorsi, of course, before. The biggest part is when Benjamin Baumann comes in, because Benjamin Baumann stayed out longer and still has not pitted. So it's played out as we would expect, with everybody in the same position. Bonacorsi, Razzieri just a bit further down. Looks like he's going to get past Tavanari here, who's probably being blue flagged, I would suspect. Leitao has just got a stop-go penalty, 30-second stop-go penalty. That's huge because it's already made his pit stop when he could have done it just a moment ago. He literally made his pit stop 2 laps ago, 1 lap ago. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, that's a really showstopper, right? I mean, 30 seconds. That feels like a lifetime in a race when you're sitting there in the pits and you just want to get going once again and leave it. Well, yeah, that's 3rd penalty that we have for today, or even 4th. Not mistaken. Albon Bouquet right behind. That's obviously not Jordan Sherritt. That's a lap car. Should be Tavanari. Yes, it is. So, Jordan Sherritt did everything right. The real question is, did Benjamin Baumann do everything right? Because he was in a fight with Bouquet, who turned into the pits immediately when he saw the window popping up. So, let's see if that actually pays off for him. Benjamin Baumann still out there, so he did not pull into the pits like Kucharak just did. Maybe you just want to grab some leading laps. I mean, I could totally understand that, but let's see if he has the pace now on the old tyres. Let's see how Alves got his 50-second penalty, though. What happened there? We get it as a replay once again. Thanks, replay operator, by the way, for keeping us up to date with absolutely everything happening on the track. And was that the turn into the pits? That's Rafael Alves coming around, white flag.
Yeah, it's the 2 of them, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So look. He sees it here. He sees it, and then he's like, oh.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
clicked to both.
he thought that Johnson will move out of the way. But Johnson, there are only 2 ways, right? If you're a slow car and you're rolling there, you've got 2 chances. You either try to get out of the way, or you try to stay where you are to not be, not running into someone. And that's exactly what Johnson did. He just stayed where he was.
Trying to get back up to speed.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that wasn't enough for Alves to react once again. But it's right that he gets the penalty in this case. Like, that was avoidable. Definitely.
Well,
not an easy situation, though.
See, I was told there was a fight for P8, but it's not really a fight, is it? Because it's Leitao that's up behind him, who's got that 30-second stop-go penalty, which I guess... Does he have to take that? I guess he has to take that, right? It's not one you can just leave till the end, because for example, Alves, if he'd stopped already, got a 15 seconds, he just takes it at the end, just takes that 15-second extra. Stop-go, you have to take. You have to go into the pits and use that penalty.
Yeah. Definitely, because it costs you way more time, right? Like an entry into the pits again, you need to come out of the pits again. So that's definitely a penalty that you have to take on track. Albon Bouquet looking down at, I think that's still Tavanari right behind, so that, and not Ruggieri.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bonacorsi's like 3.5.
Oh,
down.
Bauman's in the pits
yeah.
now. Now it will count. Bauman's in the pits, and we're waiting for Albon Bouquet to come around and either be in front of Bauman, that it paid off that he tried to undercut.
Well, it's definitely not worked. It's definitely not paid off. Bouquet's already passed him. Bonacorsi's going to be coming soon, so Bauman now coming out. Bonacorsi's passed him as well. Look at that. Bonacorsi just gets past him. So Bauman losing 2 places through that pit stop. Did not work out going long, it seems. And, you know, all credit to both Bouquet and Bonacorsi for getting it done. And I've got to be honest, Ruggieri is looking to try and pick him off now.
Yeah, that was the long game, and it definitely paid off for both Bouquet and Bonacorsi as he set. Not for Bauman. He should have just pitted earlier. It seems like he was a lot slower on the used tires, although he had less fuel, right? So I guess that was where he was coming from, but he did not see Bonacorsi and Bouquet being just a lot quicker when he's not in front of them. That's really hurting his race now, because there's only 17.5 minutes to go. And if he wants to get back on Bonacorsi, then he should not leave the gap to become that big. Look at that. I mean, Bauman is already half a second away.
Yeah, blasting away. Loving it. So, at the moment, though, Bonacorsi going to try and get on it, because, you know, he's kind of let Bouquet slip away from him a fair amount here. As Bonacorsi put in a fantastic showing in the last race, but Benjamin Bauman still the man under pressure, with Ruggieri in a real nice slipstream. So at the moment it's looking like, oh no, I'm just getting news that Letao who was it last race? Somebody did it last race, right? Just disabled that pit limiter in the pits. Just click that wrong button and suddenly zip, you suddenly get a burst of speed, because you're obviously keeping your foot flat for the pit limiter to bounce, and then so speeding in the pits. That's why the 30-second pit stop go came from. It's a kicker, but those rules are rules.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the pit limiter's there for a reason, right? And if you deactivate it once again, sometimes it's because you double tap, right? Because you really want to make sure that you have it on, and then it was on already and you turned it off again. And that really hurts, because you will get the penalty, that's for sure. Bauman back onto Bonacorsi, and Ruggieri, Tommy Ruggieri right behind now. So this will probably a big fighting group until the end of the race normally, because these drivers, they can follow each other for quite a long time, really put them in the right position and then launch and attack. It doesn't have to be rushed, unless Bauman really sees a chance early on, but not here, that's for sure. Not close enough to Bonacorsi to really go alongside.
I'm loving the development. I feel like it's the development that we've seen from Benjamin Bauman over this, the Real Race series. You know, he started off, you know, he was like this 10th runner, putting in good pace, and we were impressed by his race prowess. And as the races have progressed, he's constantly been fighting for these podium positions now. I love the advancement that he's sort of gained from it, the experience that seems to be working for him, and putting Bonacorsi under pressure. Bonacorsi, of course, who won the last race. So it's great to see Bauman really keeping it up. Obviously qualified second place as well. So he wants that number 2 spot back. He's got a lot of work to do, though. We do have Tavanari getting involved in this. Ironically, a driver that would ordinarily be involved in this fight, but right now is a lap down. So the back marker's going to be getting those blue flags, and let's just hope he doesn't get tangled up in this challenge fight right now.
Yeah, it will be a tough one, that's for sure. And let's see what happens going forward, as we still have 14.5 minutes. That's enough time for an attack, but also means that you have to defend for a very, very long time in case you can't really go the pace of the car behind you. Bonacorsi, he got a podium spot for himself. Bouquet is, I mean, gone. Look at the difference between Bonacorsi and Bouquet. So that definitely did not pay off for Bauman. He lost a ton of time with the long run, but he might at least be able to get back onto the podium here.
Yeah, and I do just wonder, obviously, you know, based on maybe fuel that they had, was Bauman coming in heavy, and yet he still managed to hold on for a long time. Now theoretically, he should be lighter on fuel now. than the other. Well, actually, no. Theoretically, it should be on the same fuel, because unless if he's light, then it's got a problem. You know, I might not finish the race compared to everyone else. But yes, I'll throw that theory out the window and go back to the race in action, because actually they did kind of bunch up a little bit closer here, and you can see they're all close to putting a challenge in, all making the slipstream of Tavanari ahead as well, trying to make it count. So the back, oh no, Bauman's lost it! Bauman has lost it! Oh, disaster! Lost the back end there. I mean, we were in the car, so I didn't see whether he got caught. I don't think he did. I'm pretty sure he just lost the back end.
Oh, that was heartbreaking once again. I mean, seems like he did not have enough downforce there to what it was doing, and just slipped away. And with that speed, I mean, they are flat out in their corner. Really, really hard to catch the car once again. And even if you catch it, then you might just pivot to the left side and smash it there. Benjamin Baumann also got a ton of damage, that's for sure. So let's see what happened. They try to use the slipstream, which makes absolute sense. Obviously, get a bit of dirty air with it as well, and losing almost on the rear and front splitter, and that's space. Oh, he tapped the brass, I think, with the rear right. Obviously, it's nowhere near as sticky as tarmac, and off he goes into the wall.
Oh, absolute kicker, isn't it? Definitely gonna hurt him. He was in there putting the challenge in, but needs to sort of find himself. I don't know how much damage he's carrying on that car. We obviously saw Jordan Sherritt's heroic performance last race, where carrying damage, he managed to still work that car and get up the places. Barbieri, though, as you can see, just up behind him. Him and Busink, by the way, were having a battle quite a lot. And in terms of pit order, I believe it was a pit order that Barbieri's managed to get ahead of Busink, because he was behind him. Now they're looking at Baumann now, who, yeah, definitely carrying damage in that car, all squirrely, and that's actually backing Barbieri up there, and Busink having a look on him. So this battle's going to continue. Baumann's just sort of crashed his way into another close battle.
It's great racing the guys showing us now, and good to see. I mean, that's what we want, right? We want to have tough fights on the track, and we want to see the best drivers really going at each other. And Busink lost a bit of time there here to Barbieri, and now they got Baumann in front of them, a guy that could have maybe won this race. I mean, he still has second place, right? That's the thoughts we had at the beginning of the race, but now only in 7th. And that's quite a big gap now if he wants to make a comeback onto the podium. We saw Jordan Sherritt doing it. Maybe Benjamin Baumann can do it. Not saying he's not good, but could be a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, Sherritt did it with the entire hour almost sort of the race in there. But, you know, obviously we've only got 10 minutes to go, so definitely
not enough time.
Yeah, no, not really enough time in there. So a lot of work still to go within this for him, and unfortunately. And, well, I got to be honest, I think Barbieri may actually be able to get past him here, though Baumann does seem to have settled a bit more now, as he's got control. You know, that whole mental sort of furiousness. He's going to be angry at himself. There's like no one else to blame. He's going to be wondering, did I get tapped from behind? Because he's probably going to be thinking that mentally, right? I got tapped.
Ericsson hit us.
But yeah, that's what he's exactly. He's going to be thinking someone tapped him from behind, but wasn't the case. Caught the grass. And when it's your own fault, it's like sometimes it can be hard to swallow, and it takes a few laps to sort of settle your mind back into it. But it does seem that he's back on it.
Yeah, it's like, I wasn't sure if he got any damage off it, but so far it seems good.
He hit the wall pretty hard, I think he did.
Yeah, it's like definitely he went outside. And we just had Race Control telling us that Jordan Sherritt for the first time is not in the 156. So,
that's not true at all.
It's not true.
I'm not having that, because I saw he was outside 156s long ago.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when I was checking on the times between Bouquet, Bonacorsi, Baumann, and Sherritt did a 157 back then.
Jordan Sherritt, what's going on there?
Well, I know, right?
Is that the decline of a hero? The end of an era?
Is this the fall?
The fall of an empire. Jordan Sherritt struggling here in the race at Silverstone. Only a gap of 10 seconds. 9.5 though. Can he manage for the last 9 minutes? No, and normally you can. Sorry for the sarcastic sarcastic sound, but Jordan Sherrod so far won 6 out of 7 races. This is the 8th round. And he only lost the 7th round because he was actually being spun around earlier.
And he's only 200 plus points ahead of everyone else.
Yes.
He has more points than the top 10 combined, I feel. He's definitely done well, the South African, despite, you know, looking older than 22, that his age looks. He's looking nailed on to be a European champion, that's for sure. Or I should say European, Middle East, and North Africa, isn't it? I believe all in one. Benjamin Baumann, though, has a lot of work to do now with just 8 minutes to go. I think it's going to be a case of he starts down in 7th, so it's going to be interesting because obviously they start the next race in the positions they're finishing here, so this is a big part of it. It does make it very interesting, certainly for me, of how the battle for the podium spots is going to work out, because I'm very interested to say, not so much for Sherrod. I expect Sherrod to probably pull away just like he has here, but I'm really interested to see how the Bouquet Bonacorsi Razzieri battle will play out when they're all neck and neck at the start of the next sprint race.
Yeah, I think there will be a good one, but I also think we should introduce a new format rule then, right? So if we don't reverse the grid, so right now, wherever you finish, you also start in the main race, right? So how about Sherrod dropping a position per second of a gap that he has to the second
how far
spot?
he is a lead.
Yes. So for now, he would drop down 10 positions.
Right, yeah.
Just so to make it a bit more interesting for him and for us, right? Because that was always the thing we talked about. Like, we never saw Jordan Sherrod actually overtaking someone. We always saw him just starting pole position and then off he goes, and then we never see him again until we show him crossing the line. So that was not great, right? But previous race, when he had to have that comeback after the spin, man, that was a proper show.
Yeah, it was an entertaining race. And obviously we also had Bonacorsi and Razzieri battling at the front, so we had a lot of action going on throughout that one. This one does seem to have settled down a fair amount. I mean, it's obviously Barbieri is the closest to Baumann. He's the closest in terms of times. You can see the time line on the left-hand side. Nobody else really within race distance. I'm a little disappointed with our Tommy today. He has been a driver that's always been close to challenging, but just outside the podium positions at the moment has been found a little lacking, I would say. By the way, Tavanari proving a point. He's staying with the top 4. So, yeah, I mean, despite obviously he had that accident early on and dropped it on the grass just like Benjamin Baumann did. For him, he lost 10 places, I think, with that accident, and obviously had to go in the pits because he picked up a whole lot of damage of being clattered by multiple cars. So Tavanari, he's going to be one to watch, I feel, at the start of the next race.
Yeah, like, the start is always the most exciting part of a race, right? And I have to say, I'm more nervous at a sim racing start than I am at a real race start. It's like my feet on the pedals are shaking in sim racing because everyone is at the absolute maximum, right? It's a bit different to real racing. Not saying that Formula 1 drivers are not at the maximum, but the lower you go, right, the more at the start everyone has on its mind, oh, I just want to keep the car in one piece, right? So you have open up gaps, and people brake a lot earlier than they would do on the hot laps and stuff like that. In sim racing, man, there's no penalty in terms of money or go to the hospital for a day when you crash. So the start is way more crucial and way more on 120% than it is in most non-fully pro race championships out there, I would say.
It's
like
as aggressive as you can get while trying to be clean and not pick a penalty.
Yeah.
it's probably the most diplomatic way of putting it. We've had some pretty good starts, in fairness. We haven't had too many catastrophes throughout the season. It's been pretty clean here overall. Yes, we did have, obviously, Jordan being spun in the last race, but that was really a race incident, and there was just a small 15. I mean, when you see a 15-second penalty being added, that's probably the smallest. Well, 5 seconds, the smallest they can do. But it's a pretty light penalty in overall race terms. Stop goes is when you really know you're in trouble because you have that whole journey down the pits. The time you sat there, you're basically thinking your time is over. That is a penalty on Barbieri. Where did that just come through? Drive-through penalty for something.
Oh, that could be drive-through. Could be a cut.
Let's
So
go.
yeah, that
Track
should
limits.
be
That's the game. Yeah.
Yeah, not accepting, not respecting track limits. Maybe also not accepting them. Depends on if you always did it on the same corner, right? But
This is unacceptable.
so I will do this now until the game finally changes mind. Not gonna happen. I know a lot of people also try that in real world racing. Just do it often enough and then hope that someone will ignore it. But nope, that's not how it works. Let's see. It will hurt him, so he will drop out of the top 10 probably. But us talking about a lot of the race start. Let's have a quick look once again at the race start of this first sprint race as we're close to the finish and the first checkered flag today. And the race start with Jordan Sheriff and Benjamin Baumann in the first row. So Sherritt on the left, Baumann on the right, and then immediately Sherritt goes over, crosses to Baumann, blocks him off that corner, gets on the ideal line and blasting through. And that was basically the one and only chance for everyone on this grid to make it around Jordan Sheriff. I mean, Benjamin Baumann still close there, and then 2 corners later, Sherritt is already gone.
Yeah, and the start of Silverstone, while obviously you have the fast corner, you come into this tight complex around the village and sort of locking things down. You know, it's a second gear, 2 second gear corners. You're sort of bringing it right down in terms of speed. So nice to see that it was so sweet and clean round there. Joining back into the racing action, Calandrino actually under pressure here from Benjamin Baumann. So Benjamin Baumann looking to get back on it. We were talking about, and again, his mind back in the game. He's thinking maybe of the next race and thinking, can I get one more place? It would be nice to get past Calandrino now, get it done. I'm just trying to think of positions. That's going to put him on the left side of the grid if he were to get 6th place. He's going to be on the right side and 7th at the moment. The left side is obviously going to be the racing line effectively, which is why you just saw that race start where Sherritt dived across to the left, because you have the odd number start on the right side. Right here, exactly right here. That's where you want to be. That is the racing line, and that's why you want to be on the left side of the grid at the start to just go flat out and hit that racing line.
Yeah, Calandrino doing a good job here, but it also looks to me that Benjamin Baumann is a ton quicker right now. As we're on board with Alban Bouquet, all on his own, 11.5 seconds off of Jordan Sherritt. So that will be 11.5 positions drop down for Jordan in the next race, if they would use my format though. But Bonacorsi nowhere near him to really challenge him for second. So Bouquet and Bonacorsi getting their first podiums, if I'm not mistaken. Baumann around the outside now. Look at that. I thought he might be able, but the turn is just coming, like, it's tighter on the exit, kinda. And Baumann was not able to keep the momentum there to go alongside Calandrino, but that was a clear sign towards Fabio Calandrino that Benjamin Baumann wants to make a move before the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, that was Calandrino parking his car in the middle. Basically, it fails. Like, yeah, you're not going to get past me here. Let's see if he does similar once again as they sweep through Magus, Beckett's, Baumann hot on the heels. But Calandrino done a very good job as they come around and down onto the hangar straight. Got to try and keep his presence there. It's going to be blasting down into Stowe. You can see Barbieri there. There's a lot of time that can be made or lost. You know, how brave do you want to be going around Stowe here? As you try and keep hard on the accelerator as much as you dare. Calandrino just a little offline there. Baumann gaining a little bit of time. But now they're hard on the brakes once again. Second gear around through Vale. And try and get themselves back on it now as they edge out to the Hamilton straight. Now, this is where Baumann's going to try and trace it. The time is running out. Where this is going to be the last lap, last chance reel that they come around in towards the village. Don't know whether he's going to be able to get it done. Does look like he's going to have to try and go for the undercut here. Hard on the brakes through village. There's not really an opportunity to overtake. He's going to be on the outside. Swings it back around in farm. Aintree, not going to happen for him. Let's have a look back at the race winner, though. Jordan Sherritt over the line. Dominant performance from him once again as we You know, we always expect it, don't we? Let's face it. Bouquet coming over in second place on the podium, looking great for him. Bonacorsi also picking himself up another third place here with Razzieri just behind. You can see in the fourth position. Kuczak just going to be coming around the corner in a moment. There's Tavanari, the back marker, unlapping himself and trying to finish out as much as he can. He's going to be starting way down, by the way. Tavanari 17th. That's going to be a tough start for him. Calandrino Bauman, though. Oh! No, it didn't happen. Didn't get it done. Calandrino in the end comes out on top. I thought I was getting excited. I thought Bauman had just dived into the inside, but it didn't happen. Bauman would finish off. Bazagi as well in 9th and Busink down in 10th.
Yeah, that was quite an exciting end there for Bauman. I thought he might make it around, but Busink, by the way, nearly ran out of fuel, it seems like. He lost the position, seems like he had to lift off a bit, just carry the car back to the finish line. So, once again, people might have been a bit surprised with the pace that Jordan Sherritt was going, sending them onto another lap. But at least Busink made it to the finish. No one's out. Tavanari, by the way, 130 seconds of a penalty. I think that's the highest we had so far in this series.
It will get removed. It's fine. It's because he pitted
outside
of the window, so it's just the game sort of trying to throw that penalty out. That will get removed by the admin, so he doesn't need to worry about it. I mean, he was 17th anyway, so he doesn't need to worry about it. But overall, yeah. Another just a solid performance from Jordan Sherritt, isn't it? Did we expect anything less? I mean, no, I don't think so. It was nice to see him challenged a little bit, but hell, we even go into the first corner and he already shut the door on Benjamin Bauman. This time he's like, no, you're not going to spin me, mate. I'm going through.
Yeah, he had a great start, and it's good to also see two new names on the podium, and let's see if they can repeat the same in the 1 hour main race, or if we might see Tavanari having a bit comeback. Do we see Ruggieri going on to the podium, and can Jordan Sherritt do it once again in the main race? All of that and even more action right after a short break. back again for Lamborghini The Real Race, round 8 of our championship of 10 rounds in total. Silverstone is a track we're on today, and we just saw the 45-minute sprint race, which means, Lee, we're heading over to a 1-hour main part.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question is, can anybody get close to Jordan Sherritt? We did talk about this, the exciting sort of the three behind him, effectively, of Razzieri, Bonacorsi, and Bouquet, all putting decent pressure on one another. But the fact is, they were all, 11 seconds behind? Yes, they kind of had this internal battle, so that's really where the fight's going to be. As my cat wants to get on the camera. No.
Cats like cameras, that's totally fine. But Jordan Sherritt, once again, starting on the right side of the grid, just what we had in the sprint race. So it's very likely that he does the same, right? Like, if he has a good start, he will immediately cut over to the left, block second position. There's Bouquet this time. While Benjamin Bauman's a bit further back after his spin, losing the car as he touched the grass slightly. So he will hopefully start a comeback for his own sake. But yeah, can anyone maybe go alongside? Because that's the only thing you can do, right? If you manage to start well enough to be next to Jordan Sherritt so he can't cut over, like can't cut across, then he has to be on the inside of a very fast corner, right? So you might be able to carry a bit more momentum around the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously further down the grid, we're looking at drivers that have had accidents. Obviously, Benjamin Bauman's going to be starting down in 7th, isn't he? Tavanari down in 17th. These are drivers that are all qualified with quicker times than those cars around them. So that's where they're going to be looking to see the real racing action, see whether they can get past the drivers. Benjamin Bauman, we saw him putting pressure on 6th place. Didn't quite work out for him. Run out of time, if anything. But absolutely, these guys are going to be looking to try and make up as many places, as many points as they can.
Yeah, I mean, we expect more of Razzieri. We especially expect more of Tavanari, right? He was so far down the grid, and we obviously had a few crashes down to mostly spins in high-speed corners. Welcome to Silverstone. And then taking out a few drivers that try to get through, which isn't easy if there's a car spinning and you're coming around the corner with over 200 kph, and then you need to find a way either left or right. You have to decide at one point, and sometimes it's actually the song, and you choose the wrong side, and then your car gets a bit of damage. Let's hope that's not what we've seen for the start. We want to see a clean start here at beautiful Silverstone, Great Britain, the home of Lee Smith, obviously. So, Lee, tell us, can we actually see your home from here?
Well, no, because I live in Cologne now.
yeah, now you're in Cologne, but previously.
Yeah, no. I used to live about 40-minute drive down the road, so I was relatively close, not quite as close as Aidan Millward is. Obviously, he's very close to the circuit, but yeah, definitely a bit further down. Obviously, that being the new... I kind of call it new now, the Hamilton Straight. I mean, it's been there for probably about 10 years now, hasn't it, I guess? No, it's less than 10 years. It's less than 10 years. I think it's like 8. Is it? 7 or 8, maybe. But yeah, it's obviously been there for a while. And then you come around, obviously, the classic cops into the Maggots and Beckett's. So that's the sweeping area. That's what caught a lot of drivers off guard, actually. That's where Benjamin Bauman lost it. Tavanari, I think, was a little further round. But yeah, you can make and lose a lot of time through Maggots, Beckett's on the exit there. So, you try and carry as much speed as you can, because then you go straight into the hangar straight. So you want to be carrying as much as you can, because if you're not, if you just took slightest wrongest line, you're going to be 10, 20 kilometers slower on the exit, and somebody's just going to absolutely pick your pocket and just sweep past it. So if you really don't carry the line, just the smallest area, which is why you'll often not see too many drivers trying to overtake. Certainly in the Lamborghinis, they're quick enough that if you go offline, it will cost you. Then, of course, you hit Stowe, you can see in the far ground there, and then come down into the Vale, this real sharp left-hander, and then you're sort of back on the pace, sort of working up the gears, 2nd, 3rd, and then 4th on the exit as you go back into the Hamilton Straight. So it's
can we
very
just
tricky.
keep the
By the way,
camera
there's the runway that I was talking
like
about.
it.
Like I said, that's been there from, well, before 1948.
Yeah, if we just keep the camera there. I mean, what if we're sending Jordan Sherritt around Stowe, then Silverstone Pullab? Or he has to do one on the karting track.
We leave him all the way back there, that little bit further back, right?
Yeah, it's like... I also drove Stowe, which is quite interesting, because you see that little chicane there right above the Silverstone building? The big one? You can do that sideways in a 370Z Nismo, I'll tell you that. It's very interesting corners. So you basically, you flinch it around and it's kind of the Scandinavian flick it into the next one. Quite interesting. I think I got
Were you doing drifting at the time, or were you not meant to be doing that?
I was not meant to be doing that, but I had a lot of fun. And since I was, like, I get bored on my own on a track. This is quite boring if there's no one, right? If there's no one to race. And you obviously have to find other ways to entertain yourself. That's one of the ways. I'm just looking if I see the building, because many years ago, I had an interview at Silverstone for a job. Was wondering if I find the building there, but I also don't remember. I remember the gate, obviously at the start of the track, right? And it was closed. But it was one of the buildings around there. So wait, can we also now jump onto Nürburgring? Because I want to see if they modeled the house. So I can actually see
if your house is in the circuit.
Just
I'm not too sure whether they rendered it in there, maybe. I don't know.
Just imagine. Like, I always, when I was still working at Studio 307, I asked for that, if we could render the house.
That big building, the idea of that is it's meant to be like a wing, apparently.
Wing?
I
thought it was a wave.
Building. It was a wing. No, it isn't too a big wing, I think.
Well, what kind of wing is that?
I don't know. It looks, I guess it's from the aerial view. I'm not too sure.
I'm pretty sure that's nonsense. I was like, I can't see it happening. Interesting, though, the Silverstone sign. Is it really like that? Like, cut off like that in real life? Since we're waiting for drivers, I'll just Google this now. Silverstone pit building, right? That's what we're going for.
That's what we're going for.
Pictures. Yeah. Let's see. There it is. It's called the Silverstone wing.
There you go.
So you're right about that. I'm not questioning that you're not right about it, but obviously, and really, the sign is cut off like that. I mean, in which branding guide was that allowed?
Which guy thought? Look, I know the S. The S.
Not just the S,
about, right?
the E as well.
The E under the wing. I mean, I guess somewhere along the line they were doing the font. They were like, guys, I think this is too big. It's fine. Nobody will notice. Nobody will notice.
Yes. No one got time for looking up there. Like, they didn't thought about all the sim races having a chance to look at it.
The race is about to get started, boys. They are coming down the Hamilton Straight, already looking and waiting for the green lights. Can anybody challenge Jordan Sherratt as they approach the line? Green flag drops and away we go. It is Bouquet that's putting his nose in there, but still not quite enough. Meanwhile, Bonacorsi and Razzieri were indeed too wide, and I think that forced Razzieri to just have to dip out a little bit further down, but you can see Jordan Sherratt, he's gone.
Yes,
Oh, who's that?
Ooh, someone's shooting really off the track there.
I think.
That's not, Latau, that's not the way to Stowe, but to the karting track. I mean, if you really wanted to go there, look how long he's staying off the track there. He's finally back in again, but Calandrino dropped down. No, yeah, that's Calandrino who dropped. That wasn't Latau.
It was Calandrino, yeah.
Yeah, that was Calandrino. On Latau as well, according to race control. So it seems like these two got together. But Jordan Sherratt just having a great start once again. Benjamin Baumann on the inside of Kucharak. Can he make it stick? He does so, but there's a right-hander. They touch slightly, and Kucharak can actually hold it on the inside. Baumann back to sixth.
Back in around Luffield, but now is he going to have a look on Copse? It's a very fast corner. We've seen many very well publicized incidents here over the year of 2021, but Baumann not going to try and go for it this time. So he did gain a position, by the way, with Calandrino going off. It absolutely worked out well for him. So he's already up into sixth place. We knew he was going to be one of the drivers to keep your eye on. By the way, Tafanari also gained 2 places off the start of that as well. So great start from these guys. Let's see if they can keep it up.
Yeah, so Baumann really putting some pressure down here. Absolutely love that. He got right from the get-go. He knows that everyone is still bunched up. If I want to have a shot at making a comeback into the top 5 or maybe even into the top 3, then I better get that started as soon as possible. Jordan Sherratt up to a second now between him and Bouquet already. Bonacorsi is still within half a second though to Bouquet, and Razzieri right behind as well. So that group stays together. With Kucharak probably being too busy to defend Baumann, and there's a second of a gap already due to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Bonacorsi very tight on, let's have a look further up the field, very tight on Bouquet. So he's gained some ground Just 0.3, you can see the gap between the two at the moment, but a lot of grain to go down. Pogdal, camera guy. I tell you what, he's drunk through Maggots and Beckett's, isn't he? I think that camera guy is drunk every time there. Maggots and Beckett's, he's just like, where I'm panning my camera, I'm going to look at everybody that's around there. Bonacorsi just having a little peek into Stowe, not going to happen. And Bouquet, though, I tell you what, he was a little offline there, and that's brought them right back. Look at that, Bonacorsi right on his rear wing, Razzieri got caught up there, so Bouquet just off the apex and just had to slow it down way more than he ordinarily would. Did kind of back them all in.
Yes, it's not an ideal case that he had then. Let's see if we can still hold on to it. Quite interesting that we won't see Baumer now attacking Kucherek once again, so looks like they picked up pace just a tiny bit. John Sherritt's still there, nearly 1.5 seconds of difference now. Latau now getting closer to Christian. Up the inside, that's not really an overlap. Gets lucky, I would say, that Christian was not closing the door on him. But Christian fights back, small touch. Calandrino is also behind. Wants to get involved in this fight between Christian and Matthias Latau.
Oh my words, this has got to go badly wrong, surely. They're all going to dump him side into through Luffield. Let's see if it works out. Latau does manage to hold position, so that worked out. Calandrino's got to be careful. Tavanari's there, up into 14th now. Tavanari gaining 3 places. Calandrino, remember, was running in 6th, so also going to be very quick and looking to get past these cars as quick as possible.
Yes, it's really interesting choice of line, I would say, but Tavanari in the background, by the way, cutting a ton of the corner there. But not a penalty just yet, but he knows that you shouldn't do that too often, that's for sure. We saw a drive-through penalty applied in the previous race, but Latau now getting away from Christian very early, so it seems that his pace is a lot quicker by now. Busink, right between Bazagi and who's that? Pogardel in the background. Pogardel, who had a good start in race 1, and not so good mid-sector, I would say, with what happened around him. Well, great to see once again all these fights happening wherever on the grid.
Yeah, Pagano was running in 4th, wasn't he, before he ended up going off the circuit. So definitely under pressure, though, from Barbieri from behind. So he's got to be careful. He was trying to look to get involved on this one. It does look like Stefan Johnson has got it done. He's managed to get past Schumacher. That was down in 15th position. So he's gained himself a place there. And Schumacher looks like he's already been defensive on Gabba Sarosi there. Just having a little peek to see if he can get round. So Johnson, of course, was involved and got collected and clattered, in fairness, in the accident with Tavanari, and then smashed into by Alves. And I think it was Gabba Sarosi that maybe both caught him in the last race. So at the moment, he's going to be happy that he's passed them.
Definitely. I mean, it gets away a bit of stress, right? You don't want to be on the edge the entire race. I mean, that's what we want to be, right? On the edge of our seats the entire race while watching the action. But as a driver, you're more than happy if you have a bit of chance to breathe and just relax, because it is. If you never drove a sim racing race, it's not easy, and it's definitely a sport, and you will sweat a lot actually in one of these fights.
Yeah, it's getting a lot more coverage as well, which I love to see, as it's starting to get more and more professional as the years go on, more eyes on it. And here we are, obviously, you know, with the prize for the Lamborghini The Real Race, to go and have a go in one of those Lamborghinis with the actual race team and see and show your skills, you know, that maybe you're not just good in a sim rig, you are great on the track. Domenico Christian just a little bit slidey there, bringing Calandrino and Tavanari continuing to go there. Just heard that Lippins has gone off the track. I can tell you that Alves has just took Schumacher as well. You can see him side by side at the moment. Definitely got ahead of Schumacher, so should be able to pull in front. But I tell you what, he didn't pull in, so he didn't get the race in line. That's going to put him a little out of position and bring Schumacher right back into that one. And you can see Lippins right up behind him as well, seeing if he can get past. It was actually Gabba Sarosi that went off the track. There is Lippins getting in there. That's what I was talking about. Schumacher, his position was completely off. And Schumacher, who we just saw a moment ago holding them off, lost the position to John Johnson, but now he's just lost a position to both Alvarez as well and Gabasarossi. So not a good lap for him. Meanwhile, it was Gabasarossi that went off the track. Didn't see exactly what happened there. We'll have a look at the replay on exactly what happened there.
Yeah, it's like, let's check out the replays. Absolutely love that because it keeps us informed about everything that happens out there on the track, and I'm sure he won't be happy with being that far behind. So that is Johnson on
maybe on Sarossi, I guess.
Yeah, no, that could be Alvarez actually in the car flashing the lights. Let's see on the inside into the chicane. Yep.
That was clean.
That was
nice.
that was absolutely beautiful. That was textbook overtaking there.
Yeah, very nice overtake. Back to the front. Well, I would say front four, but it's kind of like we ignored John Sherritt because he's off already down the line. Let's focus on Bonacorsi, Bouquet, and Razzieri. This is the battle that we expected to see sort of play out. Now, Bouquet did manage to get himself a decent lead eventually over Bonacorsi in the last sprint race, but Bonacorsi keeping him in check this time, just under a second behind. You can see Razzieri much closer as well to Bonacorsi, just 0.3 between the two. So very much proper tight racing this time. We'll see how it leads out. Of course, still a long time in this race, so 51 minutes to go in this hour-long race. They do need to make that one pit stop. Doesn't matter when and where it is. It's totally up to the racers. Most of them will go for when the actual pit windows open around the halfway mark.
Yeah, it's like the pit stops once again will change everything. We saw it in the sprint race. In case you did not watch that one, it was Benjamin Baumann losing the most there as he stayed out longer than any of his rivals around him. It did not pay off at all. Domescus Christian with Colandrino and Tavanari on the back. Tavanari on the inside of Colandrino. Can he make it stick around there? Well, we jump to another fight. Bazargi and Kucharek. Baumann now through, so he opened the door at Kucharek, and it's now up to 5th. But look how close it gets everywhere. Side-by-side racing action here in the Lamborghini The Real Race Round 8 in Silverstone. And Bussing is watching Bazargi and Kucharek right in front because they're still side-by-side fighting for 6th position. Up into the left-hander now. Hard on the brakes and closing the door by Bazargi, but Kucharek keeps it on, going up the inside, and he had the chance to close the door.
Risk it. I think he could have closed the door there, but Kucharek didn't want to risk it because he knew if it had caught in, it would have been a full pit stop maneuver. Nothing he could do about it. Would have ruined his race. So Bazargi hanging on for now, but Kucharek there, and he's bringing Busnik, Pogadal, and Barbieri all into this race. The rear end just going a little bit there. You can see a few of them just a little tight on that one, trying to get side by side as they come through, sweeping down, and they're going to be hard on the brakes in a moment as they try and go through, all side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. I'm not too sure that's going to work out. Busnik will be on the inside, but he's going to lose out on time because he has to be slower, and Pogadal now should be able to floor it as they get into the Hager straight, but who's that coming alongside? And Barbieri trying to squeeze through the middle.
Yeah, what a fight that we get here. They're still going at each other. 4 cars, 2 wide right now. Bussing trying to cover up the inside with Pogadal on the outside. Barbieri tries to squeeze through on Latau. Can he actually keep the inside with Bussing now leading the pack into the next chicane? And he needs to cover up the inside because there's still cars right behind. But Bussing keeps 8th position. That's good news for him. Pogadal, though, will lose to Barbieri. Yeah, and he might even lose it to Latau. No, he gets lucky enough there. Still, I think they're bunching into each other every single time they hit a straight with how close this is. But what a race.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that was like a group of 5 or 6 all just fighting for position. I'm very intrigued to see what led to that situation for them to be so bunched up like that. There was clearly a train factor that happened in there, whether somebody had been overly defensive and caused everybody to back up. Because that was from 5th, where Baumann had got past Bazargi, all the way down to Latau. So, all the way down to Latau in 11th. So, and actually Domenico Christian in there as well. Tafanari, they're all close now after that sort of bunch up. So, definitely a lot of fighting going on. Back to the front, though. You can see Tommy Razzieri still very much on the tail of Bonacorsi, keeping it close. Domenico Cristiano, as I was talking about, he was on the back tale of these. And let's not forget, Tavanari and Calandrino, two very quick drivers currently out of position, it's fair to say, in 13th and 14th in terms of qualifying lap time. So may well be able to get past these guys. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be some fierce racing for the next 47 minutes.
Yes, this is not done yet. Far from over, I would say, in terms of the racing action we get. Latau pushing the grass a bit, but we saw multiple cars there cutting as much as they can and running a bit wide. Respect the track limits, guys, because otherwise it was dive through just waiting for you. Sorry, excuse me.
That
is really brave now. If he can do it on the brake in here and really send Christian to the outside, then there's an easy gap for him, and it works. And that brings Calandrino even closer, who might have a chance now to get out either the inside or the outside of Christian. Nope, not launching an attack at all. And Tavanari, slowly but surely, creeping up the leaderboard.
And that was all about Christian just getting it a little bit wrong through Beckett's and just sort of getting on that grass, and that's what I was talking about. You can put yourself out of position. He was caught up as they went through Stowe, and then immediately as they've come into Vale, very nicely picked the pocket by Tavanari, brought him right back into there. Calandrino, as you say, hot onto Christian now, and that's where it's all happening. Let's have a look at some replay of Gabasarossi earlier on. So he's going to have a little pop here. And that's Schumacher as well. So this is when it all went wrong for these two, which is why we're probably seeing him down the back of the grid right now. Yeah,
Schumacher lost the rear bid, and that gave Gabasarossi an entry into that. But right at the apex, they're both going into different directions. Sharossi not tapping the wall, though. Good on him. On a real car, he would be super happy now, and his Steam boss probably celebrating that save. But yeah, that at least no damage. But obviously,
spoken like a true team boss.
Yes, I mean, you didn't know how much I sweat when not being in the car and just seeing my teammates racing in real life and being afraid that the car never returns. But Sharossi lost a ton of time. He's down to 19th. So yeah, it will be hard for him. Shamarin also an A team, so that's a long way now up to the points. And when we talk about the top 10.
Yeah, some tight racing, though, this time around. I mean, all of these guys, you can see, it's like a snake of about 10 cars, all within half a second of one another, all with a real opportunity. Anyone makes a mistake, and there's a overtaking chance right there. So, I guess you could say Bussing's maybe broken ahead of these guys, and Barbieri is sort of the head of the snake a little bit. It's still only a second gap, though, so any mistake would put him right in there. Latau trying to get Poggadol at the moment. Let's have a look at position gains that we've had. Latau up 5 places, Tavanari behind him up 6 places. Obviously, Tavanari starting out down in 17th position, actually 18th, I think it was, overall. So some great work from them. For Barbieri, up 4 places as well, up into 9th, into that top 10. So great position for him, gains overall. So these guys do some really good work right now. Of course, the top 4, that stayed pretty much position as is, all keeping themselves in station. And we'll keep our eye on whether those times do get a little closer. Razzieri is still keeping close here on Bonacorsi.
Yeah, this fight is still ongoing, and Tommy Razzieri definitely brings the experience to this fight to get onto the podium. But Bonacorsi did an absolutely incredible job in the first sprint race today. In the first 45 minutes, which is basically the distance he still has to go now to keep in front of Razzieri for a podium spot. And, no reason why you couldn't do that in the main race as well.
Absolutely. Razzieri is getting closer and closer. I'm going to keep my eye on that timer. Barbieri, though, we were talking about effectively the head of the snake at the moment. I wouldn't say, I don't think that's too fair to say he's the head of the train at the moment. I guess Busing technically is, because there is a 2-second gap between him and Kushrak now. Kushrak, of course, was involved in a collision earlier on. Benjamin Baumann up into 5th place, though. Obviously started down in 7th. We knew he'd got the pace, but I'm not too sure he's got the pace to catch on Tommy Razzieri. Tommy Razzieri, a very quick driver out there. So really our focus at the moment is going to stay in and around from 6th down to, well, I think he's down to like 14th. this massive pack of drivers all hunting for position.
Yeah, it's I just really like the series. Like, everyone on the same material, really skilled drivers that always perform when they're here on camera, so can't really complain about the racing action that we get. Robin Picardal still behind Barberi and between And him and Latau. It's right behind there. But Barbieri, we saw him in some of the bigger fights. In the previous race, but Pagard losing the rear, spinning around.
Just losing it.
Luckily, not smashing into anyone or into anything. But all of a sudden, got from 10th to basically last. Oh, I mean, kudos to him that he's standing there and not trying to get into anyone's way. I think it was Gabo Sharosi going around the left, though. Might have been a bit over the top to avoid Pagard.
I mean, he was off the track.
Yeah, so Pagard wasn't even on the track, but yeah, very unfortunate. Once again, these high-speed corners, and then losing the rear, and off he goes. The tyres are probably heated up to the max, basically. While Demas Christian now has to defend against Calandrino, and also Johnson gets involved. That's the green Lamborghini Huracan GT3 right behind. Oh man, there is action everywhere now. No matter where we look, there's action.
Yeah, and we knew it was going to be tight back there with the drivers all sort of snaking it through. About 10 drivers back to back, about half a second between them. Calandrino, you know, he started out the race in 6th place, so he's really going to want to get past Domenico Christian here. Christian, by the way, lost his position. I think it was to Johnson, wasn't it, towards the end of the race? I'm not too sure if it was Johnson, but either way, he lost a place on the last lap, so going to look to try and improve his placements at the moment, but right now he needs to be defensive. Calandrino looking to pick his pockets. Not going to do it here as they go around Stowe, but as they get into Vale, if he's out of position, he looks like he's on the apex pretty much as tight as he can. Did go a little bit too tight and lose a lot of speed there, but here on the hard corner, we've seen a couple sneaking through. Tavanari did a great overtake here earlier on. Now let's have a look at the exits. Here how the exit is. Calandrino definitely keeping it tighter onto Hamilton, but I think that's going to be a quicker exit for Christian there. And now he needs to stay over to the right-hand side as they sweep on round full speed, or more, carry as much speed as you dare in 5th gear. I'm not sure about full speed, because if you go off there, it's going to be problematic. But it does seem to be holding on pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone's doing a good job in this grid right now, and it's just still a long time to defend your position, right? It's over 40 minutes, and that's never really an easy task. Well, I think we get a replay of Pogard's spin, or did he spin again? It's down to 19th. Oh, that's the spin that we see. So Robin Pogardl, he was 10th, right behind Barbieri, getting obviously his dirty air, and then yeah, he lifts slightly, which obviously makes the car a bit loose on the rear. Not much on these, but together with the dirty air and the missing aerodynamic effect, basically, car spun around and off he went.
Yeah, just loses it, and just like that, from what was he, 8th? I think it was down to 19th. Lost all those places in one single corner. So sorry, nine places, 10 down to 9th. But Bonacorsi still keeping Razzieri in check. It seems to be the way. You know, when Bonacorsi won in the last race, it was Razzieri that basically stuck to his rear wing the whole way through. They traded places a couple of times as well. And, you know, they even said to each other, like, what a great race that was between them. They were very happy with how the racing went. And that's, you know, the spirit of the situation, I guess you could say. When they know that Sherritt's running away with it, they are effectively having their own battle at the moment. This is a battle for the podium, of course. Bonacorsi and Razzieri. They're going to want to get to that top 3, but Razzieri, Tommy, just doesn't seem to quite have it to get past Bonacorsi. Bonacorsi keeping him in check the whole way. Of course, you know, just like in the previous race, we need to start looking at when those pit stops happen. The pit window going to be opening very shortly. In around about 3 minutes time. That's when everyone's going to look in. Now, in the previous race, the person that blinked first was Bouquet. He came in instantly, and it paid off for him. He gained places over Bonacorsi and Baumann in that last instance. So we're going to see if anyone's going to be diving in quickly.
Yeah, it's like, it will be very interesting once again. Like, we talk about each race, right? What's better, to pit early, to pit later? Obviously, that really depends on your pace and where you're on the grid. And we saw that Baumann did the wrong call, while Bouquet and Bonacorsi did just the right call, especially Bouquet. I mean, he was, what, half a second within range to Baumann, and after the pit, he had 4 seconds of a gap, something like that. So he did an absolutely incredible job in finding his way around. And it will be interesting to see in this race, as we set 8 minutes to the halfway point of it, if someone is coming up with a new strategy. Definitely not Jordan Sheriff, who's currently looking at a 4.3 second gap between him and Bouquet, which is a bit less, I would say, than what he was capable of doing last race. And obviously we also have a bit more fuel and stuff like that. But let's see what will happen. And if that actually works well for Bouquet once again, or if this time Bellman might come back. I mean, Bellman's in 5th already. Ruggieri in 4th, and Bonacorsi will be busy with Ruggieri. So Ruggieri, for example, could pit very, very soon and do the same that Bouquet was doing in sprint race.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just I'd love to take a screenshot of the exact positions they're in right now, because we were talking about, obviously, this midfield battle that's been going on. You know, you can see Letao and Barbieri right now. Who is going to be the movers and shakers? Who's going to get that pit stop early? Who's going to get ahead and maybe gain not only 1 place, but, you know, 2, 3, 4 places? Who knows? These guys are all so tight together. It's absolutely a possibility. Letao keeping the pressure on to Barbieri, with Basink just in front of him. Everybody all bunched up tight here. And, you know, maybe it's a case of do you come in early? You have to do it, really, I feel. You know, if I don't know what sort of view they had of the impact that the early pit stop had for, say, Bouquet. I don't know, obviously, whether these guys got anyone telling them information in between the races to say early pit stop pays off. You know, because it did. It 100% paid. Everybody that pitted early, it worked. Got that clear air, and away they go. Of course, that is a big part of it. You still got to put the laps in. You don't just get given it, right? You don't just get given the time. You have to still put the time and the laps in. Speaking of time and laps, Jordan Sherritt a little bit slower, but you would expect that. Obviously, more fuel in the car this time around, but still the only driver to break that 156 marker.
Yeah, once again, super quick in this race as well. And race control just letting us know that we get an overtake that we didn't have of a live picture. Calandrino against Christian, so that is for position 12. So Calandrino behind Domestic Christian here in the slipstream, really using it well. And then these big ass corner, it's coming up. Look at, oh wow, he really dared to hang out to the outside, and then Christian couldn't shut the door there quick enough without touching the car of Calandrino, and Calandrino went through. That was a good maneuver here.
Yeah, that's through the farm. That's very tricky to get it done there. I was surprised to see it actually make it work there. But look at this, Ruggieri on Bonacorsi. Bonacorsi backing off a little bit, it seems. You can see that Bouquet has sort of gone ahead of him, just as he had before. Now, what? Just under 3 seconds ahead down the road. So Ruggieri realizing. And I wonder, now with the pit window open, I wonder if Ruggieri is going to maybe dive in the pits first. But obviously he's got that option because he could see Bonacorsi carry on and think, right, I need clear air. Because it does seem that Tommy is slightly quicker at the moment because he's been very much on the tailpipe. And now it's Bonacorsi that blinks first. Bonacorsi the one that goes in the pits first of this front 4 pack. And we'll see if it pays off.
Yeah, it's like it's a tad early. I mean, talking about that earlier, 34 minutes are still left in the race, so it is 4 minutes before halfway point. But he obviously had Ruggieri behind him, which slowed him down all the defensive work. So it should help him at least to keep concentration going and not wearing out too quick. While we get another replay from Shamarin and oh, that's Scarborough Rossi right behind. Let's see what happens there. It's the approach to the chicane. Rossi launching it up the inside. And then, oh, I was sure you would tap Shamarin right there, but you didn't. So, good work by both drivers. Watch Rossi, a ton fat. Oh, and then he just spins Shamarin around. Gets him out of the way. Like, man, I'm quicker. Get going, man. Just move aside.
Domenico Cristiano having to be defensive here to Johnson to try and squeeze past. You can see the pits starting to get very hot and heated. Basing Letao to Venari in there. Shamarin as well. Johnson's still looking to get past. I wonder if he's going to look to maybe nip into the pits or not. Not going to happen this lap though. So past they go over the line. Everybody else also staying out there. So Sherritt, Bouquet, Razzieri all stayed out. So the interesting part is obviously where this is going to affect the drivers that came in early. Bonacorsi being that man. Let's have a look at him. He's got clear air. This is exactly what he wanted, right? Came in 3rd place, currently down in 15th after that pit stop. And you can see how long you are in those pits. But with clear air, this is a real chance for him to try and put some points down. Now, he was a long way back for Bouquet, 3 seconds I think it was. So he's got a lot of ground to try and make up. You can see Tommy Razzieri now coming into the pits as well. So 1 or 2 later, Benjamin Baumann also in there. See if he can gain ground on Bazagi ahead of him. So at the moment, this is where time could be made and lost. And speaking of making lost time, a drive-through penalty for Schumacher and Gabasarossi. We just saw obviously that incident playing out there. And that's where the penalties are coming from.
Yeah, we see more pit stops coming in, and then another interesting information by race control is that Jordan Sheriff was winning 3/10 per lap, but with that were 2/10 less than last race. for the level of where Jordan Sheriff is, right? We can point something like that out. So his gap definitely not building as quickly as it did in the first sprint race. Although this is still super impressive, so not like this is anything different. But yeah, it seems like Bouquet really doing a good pace. I mean, he's even having a 6-second gap to Bazagi, so he's definitely quick.
Look at the pace though. So Bonacorsi and Razzieri both pitted. Both come out, and poor old Razzieri still stuck behind him. So, worked out, I would say, pretty much even between the two. No one gaining too much of an advantage there. Benjamin Baumann also out as well. But these two guys, they're pretty much exactly as they were. Pitted, I think, 2 laps apart from one another. Razzieri, though, back on it. See whether he can try and gain here. Still no pits at the moment with, the pit window is still 5 minutes to go in that. Not that it matters too much, but we will see most of them coming in. Bouquet is coming in. Okay, here we go. Bouquet in the pits. Let's see if he can get ahead. Remember, he's going to stay ahead of Bonacorsi and Razzieri. He's coming in 2nd place, looking to try and keep hold of that position.
Yeah, half an hour still on the clock here in this race. And by the way, Shamarin got a drive through for speeding in the pits. And according to race control, though, at checking that, he did not activate the pit limit at all. He just tried to manually do it, and that did not work. Not saying what a surprise.
Surprise!
that was on my mind. It's like, what a surprise.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Interesting strategy, I'd say. I did not saw that one comment for today. I mean, definitely did not pay off. I mean, drive through. He's in 19th now anyway, and he had to also repair the car, I would assume, after what happened previously.
All right, Bouquet coming out of the pits. Let's see. Where does this put him? I think that's Bonacorsi right behind, is it? Or is that Bazagi? It's Bonacorsi. It's Bonacorsi right up behind him. Yeah, wow. That was a 3-second gap, and Bonacorsi is right on the rear end of Bouquet. Bouquet coming out of the pits. He is going to be under pressure instantly. And that is a massive gain for Bonacorsi and Razzieri, because Bouquet was, as I say, it was just over 3 seconds ahead of them. Chose to go wrong. That makes it very interesting. Where's Jordan Sherritt going to come out? He's going to be in the pits still. He's still not to go in there, but Bonacorsi really looking to get a move in.
Yeah, that was an absolute incredible strategy here. And Bonacorsi immediately going up the inside of Bouquet. That was not enough, but I think Bouquet kind of opened the door a tiny bit. And probably Bonacorsi was hoping for a worse exit due to that. Bouquet now all the way to the inside, trying to weave and break the slipstream for Bonacorsi. Obviously, you have to get back under the ideal line for that corner. No other choice, that's for sure. But this will be a big fight now. Although I have to say, Bouquet, we know that he had that difference, right? He had a big gap. So if Bonacorsi's not getting it done early, I fear for Bonacorsi that Bouquet will be able to build the same gap once again.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. He needs to get it done now. If he was going to get it done, that may have been his moment. Look at Benjamin Baumann, by the way, as well. He has gained some ground as well throughout all that. Still 6 seconds back, but these guys were well out of a sight at the moment from him. The moment, Jordan coming out of the pits. Let's see where this puts him in position. Should be ahead of the pack, as we expect. But just how close are they? So he's out of the pits. Here comes Bouquet and co. They're coming around the fast corner at the moment, the fast left-hander. So Sherrod not that far ahead in total. And are we going to see them in the background? Yeah, there they are. There's the racing pack. No, he's still got a pretty big lead, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's like Jordan Sherrod right now is just untouchable for this grid, and unfortunately we have to say that. We would love to see him a bit in a fight, but he's just so quick and so consistent. And he won 2 seconds onto Bouquet during this pit stop, so it seems like everything is just as he was planning it.
So did
really
Bouquet take tyres, I wonder? I wonder if Bouquet took tyres. So everybody, because, I mean, he lost time on Sherrod. He lost time on Bonacorsi. You know, Sherrod came in 1 lap later. Bonacorsi went in, 4 laps earlier. I wonder what happened there. But either way, Latau apparently just spun Bazagi. So, well, Bazagi down in 11th now. Latau up in 8th. So, losing places there. Back to the little battle. It is Shumrin and Alves. These guys, well, Alves, I mean, technically Alves in the lead. So actually Shumrin's the back marker. Still yet to pit. There we go. Alves coming in on the final few moments of the pit winner.
Yeah, it's like Alves obviously has to get his stop done, and at least he gets some leading kilometers.
Bosink spun, so Bosink just lost 3-4 places, I think. Didn't see whether it was an unforced error or not, but I just saw him slipping down the table. So Bosink down to 12th now from, I think it was just behind Latau.
Replay we get is Latau fighting for 8th position. And the car slightly green. Who's that in front of him, though? Oh, really getting your slipstream going and up the inside. Let's see. Ooh, someone tried to close the door there. Someone tried to close the door. And it was Bazagi, actually, who, yeah, half spun there. And the overlap was good during the braking zone. And there was not much overlap between these cars when turning in. I see that. But during the braking zone, I'm pretty sure that Bazagi should have known that Latau was there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a big marker in the game to start with. It's not like you're in real racing. You've got to make sure your mirrors. You've got a race engineer shouting in your ear, a car on the left, or car on the right in this case, for him. So yeah, definitely, I would say an error on his part, and kind of you can't just turn into a car. It's simple as that. You will end up being spun. That is simple physics at best we can be. Bonacorsi still under pressure from Tommy Razzieri, racing hard throughout this one. I gotta be honest, I think for Tommy Razzieri, his heart probably sank when he saw Bonacorsi. When he came out of the pits and Bonacorsi just passed him by, he'd have been like, oh no, I thought my two laps blasted. May have done it, but Bonacorsi has done a fantastic job here. But as you mentioned at the time when Bouquet came out the pits, he had to get it done, and Bouquet is now leaving them behind 1.5 seconds and counting as he starts to stretch his legs.
Yeah, he's definitely quicker, and as I said, Bonacorsi had that one shot right when he came out of the pits, but as soon as Bouquet came into the flow again and knew how the car felt after the pit stop, he's just off in the distance, really doing a good job here, and will be hard for Bonacorsi, especially now that he once again has to defend against Tommy Razzieri.
Yeah, so let's look how the pack sort of stretched itself out now. Looking down the times, I can see that Calandrino is pretty close at the moment, but with Latau I don't think he's going to get a penalty for that. I'm sure race control will look at it, but I don't think there's going to be a penalty. But Rosieri, my word, he is looking to get a movement on here. He's got very close to Bonacorsi, tucked underneath. See if he can get the move done. As they come down the straight, it is going to be on the outside of Stowe, though, so not a lot he can do. He's going to try and slingshot it round as they come down into Vale. They're going to be hard on the brakes once again, but I'd really surprised if Bonacorsi leaves this open. Yeah, he's absolutely going to cover it off. Just make sure he has that line. So, well, Rosieri clearly had a better drive through Maggots and Beckett's there. At the moment, Bonacorsi holds station.
Yeah, Bonacorsi is used by now to defending a lot, I would say. Since he has to be on defensive duty nearly every single lap since the start of the race. 22 minutes if he wants to keep the car on the podium and get his second podium in it. I think what it's... No, but it's not Bonacorsi's first race, obviously, we had him previously, but it might be the first one where he's able to get a double podium.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of, as you were saying, I was trying to think of think of the first race. I think he may have got third and first. No, I think so. He may have even been second and first. He definitely won the last race, didn't he? But I don't remember what he did in the first. Bauer was up there. Sherritt was up there. Maybe he was third. I would have to double check that and load things, and I'm not in a position to do that because I'm trying to cover the camera as best I can and try not to miss the action, which I have missed a little bit of, but you know what, we're busy. There's a lot of racing going on here. Rosieri looks like he's going to hold station, so I'm just going to ignore that one for now. But Calandrino putting the pressure onto Bizzaghi here. Calandrino did start the race in 6th place. So, you know, it does seem to be trying to keep that pressure on, but it is a long way back. And once again, though, Rosieri seems to be quicker through there. I just heard that somebody spun. Barbieri has just spun, so that's why we're seeing Barbieri off the track. He has just lost 4 places as Johnson goes through. And I think it may have been something to do with Letao, who's also off the circuit there. Camera, thank you very much. Letao off the circuit as well, going through. And, yeah, it's a bit of flashing going on. Bizzaghi wants to get past. Calandrino trying to get past him. This was the battle we were looking at the moment. Calandrino up the inside. A little tap onto Bizzaghi, losing that back end. Actually corrects him with the second tap. Would you believe it? And saves Bizzaghi from spinning out.
Yeah, that was really close. I mean, he lost the back end once again and nearly lost the entire car. Luckily, in the group like this, was capable of saving the car. And now Calandrino on the back of Letao wants to get involved there. He wants to make a move because all of these positions are obviously for points. We're in the top 10 and points are on the line.
Yeah, it's just not gone so well for him, but Letao now under pressure. As I say, Letao did go off the track. I don't know how much it was his own fault, but clearly was off circuit. And sometimes you do gain time on that, and sometimes you lose it. But look at this, Calandrino putting the pressure down onto Letao as they come through into Luffield, sweeping round Woodcut. And Calandrino now, can he get a clean exit here? Get the hammer down as they go flat out towards Copse. Has got a good exit. You may notice they all take the inside line there as well. And it does look like it's... This is probably one of the trickier corners, I would say, of Silverstone as well. You know, the exit there, if you really need to get it right. Anyone that's drove around here in Assetto Corsa will know that you can quite easily lose it. Speaking of which, I think we're going to see someone doing exactly that. There we go. Just perfect timing. I didn't even know that was coming. There we go. Exactly what I was talking about. You can, if you're not careful, if you don't quite take it at the right speed and the right line, you can very easily lose that back end.
Yeah, I think he also touched the inside curb, the sausage curb there.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy one, right? And settles the car massively. So, not surprised that the car goes sideways then, and he's losing grip. Luckily, nothing else happened. So, still ongoing for the last 18.5 minutes. With Rogeri diving deep here on Bonacorsi, but so far we did not really see attacks from Rogeri, not in the sprint race, not in the main race.
No, I think he's been, I wouldn't say he's happy to stay there, but he's not risking it, let's put it that way. I don't think he's too much of a risk taker to try and go for it, and he's got no reason to. You know, 4th place is perfectly fine. He's, I think he's 4th in the championship overall, isn't it, Rogeri? Maybe he actually get even more after this, because chasing down the likes of Ciclari, who did very well towards the start of the season, but we haven't seen anything of for the last few races. Look at this, though. Bazaghi trying to come back at Calandrino. He's chasing down Latau, and you can see just that little battle behind them, as well as Domenico Christians, Johnson and Barbieri. Barbieri obviously going off the circuit earlier. Bazaghi coming really hard at Calandrino there, trying to sweep on past. It's Latau, the man leading the pack, though, and there is a 5-second penalty for Calandrino, so that was going to be the battle. I think that's when he passed Bazaghi, right? He clipped the inside, well, clipped him twice, effectively. He sent him into a spin and then corrected him on the front.
Yeah, there's a lot of action everywhere, and 5 seconds now for Calandrino, not really what you want to see in a race like this, and especially not being in this fighting group that you're in as of right now, but not much you can do, so you have to live with that and just get over it. Trying to push and continuously getting quicker and quicker. Sherrod, by the way, now 9.1 seconds again between him and Albon Bouquet. Bonacorsi another 3 seconds off, so 12 in total to the leading Jordan Sherrod. Not as much as we previously saw, that's for sure. Roman Lippins has Robin Pogardl right behind. And see if Pogardl, who had not a catastrophic race so far, but let's say he always finished better than he started. At least in terms of how it went for him, not in terms of positions.
I would say it's catastrophic.
Yes, like Pogardl always started relatively like first half of the grid.
He started 4th.
Yeah, and then somehow finds a way to drop all the way back, and then he needs to fight back.
Yeah, I mean, the first sprint race was 4th. Had an incident. I think it was when he lost it through maggots, wasn't it? I think he did. And then, obviously, that put him down to 9th. Now, in this race, you know, he started roughly in that position. He went off again. This time, I think it was through Cops, maybe. That's close to Lippins' backside, but Lippins a little offline. And that's definitely put him out of position. Pogardl going for the undercut to see if that can pay off there, but going for that hard on the brakes, not going to pay off as much as he'd like, and that lost him time in the end.
I see Pogardl is still there, and Garbo Sharosi, always see his name tag far away, not really in close proximity with 5 seconds of a gap. Rogeri still behind Bonacorsi. Nothing happened there so far, but Rogeri is always there. Like, he's really good at following Bonacorsi, but he's not getting in any position to really contest for podium here. And with 15 minutes still to go, he's running out of time fairly soon.
Yeah, it feels like he's waiting for Bonacorsi to make a mistake, but the problem is that Bonacorsi just isn't making mistakes, is he? I mean, like you say, he's been very good at following. I do feel like Bauman's still getting tighter, by the way. Still 5 seconds, though. Let's have a look at a replay here. What are we going to see? Calandrino and Latau and Bazaghi all close with one another at the moment. Calandrino, a little further back. This is probably where the 5-second penalty came from. Yeah, this is when he got the inside of Bazaghi. So that's Bazaghi that's ahead of him right now. Goes around the out, ducks on the inside. That's Latau also there. And this is where he clunks the back end, stretches, clunks again, and so that's where it actually helped Bazaghi out. But as you can see, Bazaghi flashing. Probably should have given the position back there. I don't know. I mean, it has been adjudged to be a 5-second penalty, which is about the weakest penalty you can give, which is why I think the race control is probably thinking, well, it was kind of a racing incident, but you probably shouldn't squeeze up the inside as much as he did.
To be honest, it looked a bit like a typical karting maneuver, right? I mean, you tap the back and then settle the rear a tiny bit to then make the move. Well, that's how it works, right?
It seemed fine to me, but I'm not race control, so I don't make this decision.
I mean, not saying that it was okay. Just saying, in karting, you would actually see that a lot. Someone is not letting you past, and especially in rental car racing, people tend to just go a love tab on the back to see if it creates an opening.
Oh, I'm dying. I'm dying on camera. I'm slowly, I've inhaled something that I don't know what it is, but that's gone down my windpipe.
Oh, you shouldn't die during a race. Watch your insurance as to that. Oh, Latau under pressure from Colandrino. Still, I have to say, Colandrino only up the inside. That should be a fairly easy maneuver, but both touch once again, and that opens the door for Bazagi to go through. Sends Latau White into the grass, and really has to cut half of the track nearly. Sliding back right behind Colandrino. But that was a costly mistake here. A costly one. I wonder if it was solely down to them touching there, because from that perspective that we have from the camera, it's not easy to tell, I would say.
I think Bazagi's going to be thinking justice has been served as he goes on through. So Bazagi regaining his position over Calandrino and getting past Latau. Let's have a look at the replay.
Yeah, so that is Latau up the front, Calandrino right behind. Calandrino first chooses the inside, that's totally fine. Latau goes to the outside, opens it up, and then he turns in and... Oh, it's a typical problem of crossing apexes, right? I mean, Calandrino, he deserved space at the inside, and Latau gave him that space, but Calandrino was not really capable of holding the inside line and running really, really wide. So, hard to tell there.
Well, either way, Calandrino now sitting with that 5-second penalty. And now he's sitting behind Bazagi as well, where he got the penalty from. So he's going to be a little angry about the whole situation. Still got a lot of work to do. Well, let's talk about the leader. There he is. All right. We cut away from him again now because that's all we need to see of him. Bazagi's still under pressure from Calandrino. Jordan Sherritt's still in the lead. Now over 10 seconds and gone.
Yeah, he's Jordan Sherritt can only stop himself. That's for sure here. Oh, that's Bazagi going a bit in the green, and with that bringing Calandrino back, who already has a 5-second penalty for what just happened. Now alongside Bazagi and passes him around the outside in front of the braking zone. But Bazagi still knows that these 5 seconds really play into his cards here.
Yeah, he doesn't need to fight too hard for it, as I say that, as they go into Vale. Looking for the undercut. It's not going to work there. No, doesn't work out. I mean, you know what? You never want to give up a position, do you? Like, even when you sit there in your rig, you're like, oh, I'm going to get it back, even though in your brain, you should be thinking, the guy in front's got a 5-second penalty. I've got that position already. But you don't think, you think, oh, I need to take him. Let's have a look. This is Pagardal further down the field. So currently sitting in 14th, getting past Roman Lippens.
Yeah, look at that. Right from the driver's eye. Incredible shot here. Really has to work for this maneuver. And then makes a stick around the outside. Beautifully done here. Played very well by both drivers, I have to say. And it pays off for him. Now gaining one position and getting a bit closer.
Yeah, so Calandrino now with that lead. Let's see what he can do with it. He's been stuck behind them, you know, be it Latau or Bazagi,
for quite a while.
For quite a while, yeah. And he started out in 6th place, so we know he's got the pace. Now, let's see what he can do with it. But look behind. D'Amico Christian's there now, so even he's been brought into it because they were sort of backed up this fight back and forward. Obviously off the track a little bit with Latau as well. It has brought Christian back into it. Now, with Calandrino available, he's got, 9 minutes to make a 5-second gap. I don't think that's going to be anywhere near enough for him, even though it does look like he is starting to get away slowly.
Yeah, so he's definitely spreading his wings now. Makes sense. It seems like he was quicker and just couldn't do it. And now works that he finally had some clean air right in front of the car. And it also changes, obviously, the airflow on your car, right? And really helps. Like, all the corners finally feel like in practice when you were doing all of hot laps to actually make it into into this grid, right? So now that it feels correct, why not, right?
What happened to Tavanari? Did I just have a brain fart and miss the fact that he's back down in 17th? What happened there? Did he... Oh, I think he was involved in that collision earlier on, wasn't he?
Yeah,
because he was doing really well. He'd got himself up to... I think he was up to like 7th ahead of Calandrino. He was ahead of Calandrino. Or maybe completely blanked on that while I was choking up, but it definitely lost places. And I was just looking at positions gained, which is what confused me, because obviously Latao's gained 7 places, and I was thinking, well, Tavanari's done better than that, but I think the Tavanari curse in the real race continues. Yeah, so he was up to P11 at some point, but he's back down in 17th now, so clearly something somewhere happened, and I completely blanked on it. But, nonetheless, let's have a little rundown, as looks like Bazagi's going to be holding this position fine. Jordan Sherritt, currently race leader, has just lapped Schumer in there, as you can see in the distance behind him. Just behind him on the podium will be Alban Bouquet, who's honestly had a pretty much race to himself, just like Jordan has. Did have a small challenge from our man here, Bonacorsi, who has Tommy Razzieri attached like a Klingon throughout the entire race, but as of yet, has yet to try and make that challenge stick.
Yeah, it's like we didn't saw Baumann in action for quite a while now. Still looking from afar onto this fight between Bonacorsi and Ruggieri. And I wonder if with just 6.5 minutes, there's probably no chance for him to be part of this, unless these really like clash and lose a lot of time. And 6.5 minutes for Bonacorsi now should be an easy one after defending so long in the first race, and now defending even longer, nearly an hour now, in the main race. But Tommy Ruggieri, I'm quite surprised that he did not find a way around Bonacorsi, or that we did not see him try more aggressively. It seems like he can hang in, but he can't really do anything else to it.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's brave enough to go. I'm not sure if that's the right word, right? Because we saw Tommy Razzieri making some great waves in the past, and he's been blasting past people. So we know he can do the overtakes. But the fact is, I mean, he's clearly a fast driver because he's right up on Bonacorsi. But I think Bonacorsi is also a fast driver and is not making a mistake. You know, he's not. If you think of the overtakes further down the field, every overtake we've seen has kind of come from either a tire on the grass, a slight mislay on the apex, but Bonacorsi, I guess it's like the old, Nelson Piquet, the great defender. Effectively, you can't get past him. It's just this brick wall, this moving wall that you just can't pass, and holding himself in a perfect line, because clearly Razzieri obviously has the pace. I do wonder, and I kind of feel sorry for him, that if he did go past Bonacorsi, what pace he could show, whether he'd be able to keep a Bouquet more in check. But look at this, Bouquet's like gone. He's round the corner already, sort of already gone into it, whereas Bonacorsi and Razzieri, they're just staying positions as is. Somebody we haven't talked about for a while is the car just 5 seconds down the line from him, Benjamin Baumann, on his own, 5th place. A much better race this time around, but he's not been involved in a great deal, has he? And obviously, he had that penalty before. D'Amico Christian, he's under pressure from Barbieri here, and Johnson just behind him. A little bit of, well, not contact, but just a sniff of the exhaust pipe there from Barbieri. The closest on the circuit right now. I honestly, at this stage, I'm just kind of discounting Razzieri's 0.4 seconds, because you think, oh, he's going to overtake. No, he's not.
It's like, it's really interesting to see two drivers being that close the entire race, but never really having a fight, right? I mean, Ruggieri never got into this start fighting, but watch back the replay here of Latau, and that should be... Oh, Latau once again touched the curb a tiny bit, and there's D'Amico Christian right behind him in the blue Lamborghini Huracan GT3, and he had the better run there. And then an easy pass. Yep, there was a little bit of bunching up. Oh, Latau directly firing it back at him. and taking his position back. I mean, that was quite quick. And not letting Domestic Christian run away. And then they had to hop onto the long stretch. Domesco sending it up the inside, but couldn't get alongside. Latau, though, he lost... Did you see how much speed he lost there on the apex? He really tried to be safe, to not run the car wide, to give another shot to Christian. And that was Latau and Bazaar. It was Bazargi on the green.
Camera guy? That one camera guy. It's always that one shot. The TV camera's just like, nope, shoot it across. But yeah, I mean, as you said, Christian's now clearly lost a second behind Latau now, and he's actually under pressure himself, having to be defensive to Barbieri and Johnson, who are both coming back into this one. So Latau's been involved in, I would say, about 75% of everything that's happened today in this race. I feel like we've said his name a lot of times. If you think right back to the start of the grid, start of the race, he was a little bit off the track there, but he gained positions. And that's because, again, he's gained 7 places. So he's done very well in the actual race pace to get himself where he is. But now finds himself sort of up against it. I don't think he's going to catch Bazargi. Bazargi's kind of falling away from him. If you remember, he was involved with Calandrino and Bazargi not that long ago. Both of those going up the road. Speaking of, I wanted to keep my eye on Bazargi's time. See how far ahead he can get, because he has that 5 second, sorry, not Bazargi, Calandrino, has that 5 second penalty. At the moment, he's pulled a 3 second lead over Bazargi, but there is only 1 minute 45 to go in this race, so we're looking at probably 2 laps at best, depending where Jordan is right now on the circuit. And yeah, so it's going to be, it's going to be another lap regardless of where he is. So we'll see whether he's able to go for it. P10, let's have a look at the fight down there.
Yeah, it's like it's heating up here between Latau, Christian, Barbieri, and I think even Johnson in the background. Yeah, he is there. And there's only 1 hour 20. That's roughly, it's now a bit in a lap, basically, what they're doing. Depending on when Sheridan's crossing the line, Johnson went a bit far off there. Really taking a lot of run down to the next corner to get close to Barbieri. And Christian is the last one to score points towards the big leaderboard that counts to actually get the drive on the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo, while Camera decided to go to Bonacorsi and Ruggieri. Nothing happened there.
I was baited because it said Ruggieri was 0.1. I was like, oh, he's going to finally go for it on the last lap. No.
Not going to happen.
I got baited by it. You can see John Sherritt here, so he's just going through Vale. So there will be 1 more lap to go. So he's going to be starting his final lap now. Now, we've talked about this before. Drivers need to be very careful of fuel, because sometimes Jordan Sherritt's pace catches them off. He goes a little quicker than they were expecting, does an extra lap that people weren't maybe expecting as he goes over the line now with 20 seconds to go. So we've got to keep our eye whether someone's going to start backing away, which is why I was interested in Bonacorsi. I thought, oh, maybe he's gone a bit too lean and Ruggieri's going to catch him, but I think I was baited by them again.
Well, we get a replay of Barbieri. What happened there? He's still in 11th behind Christian.
Oh, Christian's just gone off the sack.
Okay, that is Barbieri in the darker car, Christian in the blue one, and then Johnson in green. Barbieri up the inside of Christian, under braking, not really getting the nose in there. And also not the exit speed. I was expecting him to might have a bit more run off the exit, but Johnson sent it in on the chicane, so Barbieri really had to open the door, but was not willing to give up his position. Small tap with Johnson. Luckily, nothing happened there. But, oh, Johnson came back and sends Barbieri into the wall. Wow, okay.
And Johnson, in the end, got it done. So, yeah, he gets him past, but well, not too sure how clean that was. Back to Bonacorsi. We are about to see, I think... Our man, he is... Where's he got? He's got a bit to go yet, actually. Jordan Sherritt, not quite ready to go over the line just yet. He's got a little bit of ground to go, so about half a lap. So I was really focusing on Ruggieri, because Ruggieri has really been putting the pressure on the last lap to try and finally make this move stick. I'm not too sure. It is, of course, a race for the podium position. So Ruggieri really wants to get this done, but Bonacorsi... He's very wise to what's up here. Ruggieri has not really been showing him the racecraft that he wants to get past. And despite being incredibly close throughout, Let's see if it's going to happen. Sherritt has just crossed the line, so it's the win for him. Bouquet will be coming round as well in just a moment. I want to keep my eye on whether Razzieri is going to be able to get this done or not. Just having a little peek up the inside, but I think that's it. I think that's the challenge dead there. There goes Bouquet over the line. Bonacorsi and Razzieri will be coming over the line. And Bonacorsi third on the podium. Fourth place for Razzieri. Another great race from those two drivers. Benjamin Baumann coming up behind in fifth place. Down in sixth, Kuchrak's going to be securing his sixth place. Calandrino, will he be able to hold on? 4-second gap. Not enough to keep ahead of Bazaghi, but it will be enough to stay ahead of Johnson. So he's going to fall 5 seconds down to 8th position. That's where Bazaghi will gain a spot up into 7th. So great race from him. Johnson down in 9th place at the moment. Barbieri, he has himself a 5-second penalty. But as you can see, it's still enough of a gap. Pagardal's still too far behind him. So Barbieri will keep hold of that 10th place unless Pagardal can do anything. Pagardal himself under pressure from Bussing. So it will be 11th and 12th for them. Down the line, Gabasarossi going to be coming up as well in 13th position. There goes Pagardal over the line. Gabasarossi also over the line in 12th. 13th position, there is, for Sarossi, Bussing was 12th. Roman Lippins now over the line as well. And D'Amico Christian in the end down in 16th position. So yeah, sent packing a couple of times. He's not going to be happy with that. Obviously was running in 9th position alongside Johnson. Not enough for him. I think Letao ended up just running out of fuel. No! Oh, that's why. We were talking about Letao. Letao, how many positions did he just lose?
Yeah, that is massive now. He's creeping on the start-finish stretch. Look at him. Trying to somehow get the car to cross the line and finish this race.
Gone in the pits. I think he's going to pass him even though he's in the pits as well. Oh, there's the line. If Tavanari had not gone in the pits, he'd have carried on. He would have gained a place. But oh well, let's how crawls over the line.
Oh dear, what a finish to this race. I mean, we saw that previously. People really like this. This is the proper thing, right? This championship, it's tight and it's harsh. If you want to keep up with the best, you need to make sure that you have not too much fuel to the weight, right? And you really want to be on point with your strategy when you pit, how much you take, and all the work around the tires. And for the tower, it didn't pay it off this time because there just wasn't enough fuel.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think he lost quite a few places though, still from it. I'd be interested. I didn't quite check the final part. We're gonna have a little look at the replay in a second. We're just trying to figure out. But yeah, I mean, I was rattling down the list to see where they all finished, and I got completely off guard and miscounted. I mean, I talked about it a lot before, like with Sherritt's pace, whether it was going to catch anyone off guard, and it did. It caught Letao out. Let's have a look.
Yeah, it's like the replay will probably tell more here. Okay, Bussing against Pagardal. Pagardal on the outside, but really had the drive. Look at him. And then couldn't. Oh, he tried to step at the inside on Bussing because obviously had to open up a bit with the forces pushing him to the outside. Pagardal super aggressive here around the outside of Bussing. And, oh, beautiful maneuver. Absolutely beautiful. Wow,
Yeah,
last lap maneuver around the
yeah.
outside.
I mean, in fairness, Pagardal quite a way out of position. Started the race in 4th, so we know he's a very quick driver on Silverstone. So probably a little glimmer of hope for him to finish the race there. You know, just to raise his spirits. Certainly, probably when he's going to look back at it, he's going to be disappointed with his error in the first sprint race.
Definitely, there was more for him in this Silverstone event, right? And it's always bad if you leave a track and you felt like, I left 5-6 points laying around here, right? Because I just did a small mistake or I overstepped it quite a bit. Can happen. Won't happen today for Jordan Sherritt, our winner of the day. Both race wins go towards the young South African, 22 years old, and absolutely blasting past all of his competitors once again here in this event, winning 7 out of 8 events so far. Which means we still have another 2 coming up. Obviously, I have to highlight that the last event will be a bigger one where we see probably all regions. So if you really like the racing action, but you want to see what else is happening, then the Misano Adriatico race at Sunday, far end of this screen here, the last race, that will be a big event. Not just 3 different races, we see 3 different regions. That's even way better than 3 races. And you can watch all of that live with us. But before that, we still have the endurance race at Spa-Francorchamps. It's another Sunday again. And that means instead of doing 2 races, a 45-minute and a 1-hour race, we get a 2-hour endurance race. And so far, Lee, I have to say, the endurance race has really packed a ton of action.
Yeah, we've had some really close action down to the last lap at Suzuka as well. Some cracking racing action throughout there. 8th of November is when you guys need to keep your eye on the qualifications overall. Here's some of the race highlights, obviously, from Tavanari. Having a moment there. But there we go. There's Tavanari. So this is the first race, and as I say, Tavanari was doing so well. He's one of those drivers that I always feel is going to do better than he actually does. He always has a nightmare in the race, and that is one that he will want to forget.
Yeah, definitely didn't help his race, and man, you feel dizzy afterwards. Hopefully he was not racing in VR.
Yeah, I would hope he wasn't holding his wheel too tight there, because with the direct drives, they can kick your butt there.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate event for him here. And that he wasn't away of some other drivers in that corner, not surprising, right? Everyone is flat out coming around there. And you can't really adjust the car much, because if you lift off, you lose the rear and might end your race. So the only real way of doing it is being close to the racing line somehow, or letting the car run wide into the ditch, basically, and run through the grass. It's the only options you have.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's strange to say. We have seen quite a few of those incidents today. You know, quite a few just losing that back end, and especially through cops, it's a corner that you can absolutely lose the back end on. So when we saw it happening a number of times, I was surprised to see so many like that through Maggots and Beckett's. Though that's like an area that, yes, you can lose a lot of time, but I guess if you're on the limit, sometimes you just go too. Push it too much and lose a lot of time in the end. But yeah,
I think I have to say, I think they all have been different. Because we saw spins due to dirty air, we saw spins due to touching the grass, due to touching the outside curb edge, due to touching the inside curb sausage curb. So yeah, many different ways. Just one corner to get the car sideways there.
Yeah, fantastic racing overall. I'm really interested to see what Spa's going to bring. We know it's a really nice circuit that we could challenge in. And, of course, in the end, the weather was just a bit cloudy. But good old Tommy Razzieri, this was his view for an hour. This was his view.
Wasn't it also his view already in the first race?
I think so, yeah. So he's had 2 hours upon, of course, his butt.
He was really into his driving style, wanted to examine every single movement he does during a lap. And he did that, basically a coaching session for 2 hours. Maybe one, of course, he can actually invoice that.
Yeah, just follow me for this race. I'll take you to the end. Don't worry, we'll try and get a podium.
Yeah, unfortunately, only one of them got a podium. Only Bonacorsi got the podium. Yeah. Ruggieri is staying off it. So, yep, no champagne for you. No,
absolutely. I mean, honestly, I think is this the first race we have Bouquet here? I feel like it is. I don't remember seeing him.
To me, he's new, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him before. You know, that we did miss a few races towards the start of the season when we were covering APAC and NALA. So it's possible that we missed him in some of those races. But yeah, honestly, for him, obviously not a new Assetto Corsa driver, but new for the Real Race series. A great turn-up for him. Getting himself, second both races has been, a brilliant... Can I say rookie performance for a driver that's experienced? No, I don't think I can say rookie performance. A great showing for him here in the race we haven't seen for a while. But there's the man on your screens, Jordan Sherratt, the overall winner. He doesn't get a great deal of screen time overall, so it's only fair we show him a replay of him winning. and poor old Tavanari, he's ahead of Tavanari again, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting how everyone cuts the last part there and then Sherratt crossed the line for another win. By now, probably been very used to this feeling. Rather than trusting the line as the first one. But he did a great job. I mean, he once again, first race, especially sprint race, he built a huge gap there. And then it seems like he left just a tiny bit on throttle for the main race. And then did not build the gap as quickly as he did in the first race. But once again, just no mistake by Sherratt. Not with strategy, not with the driving, not with lapping. nothing. Just everything absolutely perfect, and it will be hard to beat him in the next 2 races.
Yeah, absolutely. He has been unstoppable. You know, even when he got spun out in the previous race and sent down to 18th, he still came back and got second, didn't he? Yeah, he is just absolutely dominated in a very worthy, I think it's safe to say, winner of the Lamborghini The Real Race for Europe. The question is, can anybody challenge him? I think it's more a case of pride on the line. If you can come in and beat a race off him like Bonacorsi did previously.
Definitely. Like if someone is capable of stopping Jordan Sheriff for the last 2 events, that is a big achievement. Talking about these last 2 events, we're done with this one here with round 8, which means round 9 is up next. Spa-Francorchamps, the 2-hour endurance race. Make sure to be around for that. Once again, thank you to Assetto Corsa Competizione, to Intel, to Kaspersky, and Secret Labs, our partners, building this show for you, and making it possible for Lee and me to commentate on great racing action. We see you in Spa-Francorchamps once again. Goodbye.